It's as phony as it comes.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, September 23rd, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1071.
This is No Agenda.
Back at home base and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm fresh back from a great meetup in Oakland, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Fresh back. Fresh back. You mean yesterday?
And guess what?
What?
Just as we're finishing the opening, here it comes.
The Zephyr. Go Foamer. Yes.
It's like a 9-car train with no attachments.
I don't know why we're doing this, but we're doing it. Not quite sure why we're trying to beat the Zephyr to the punch. This is the best podcast in the universe, your No Agenda show. We do the show twice a week on Thursdays, and today is the Thursday-Sunday, and for some reason we try to beat the Zephyr.
We try to beat the Zephyr, and every day is a Thursday, apparently, at least.
it's working for me.
Week.
It's working for me. I honestly sometimes really don't know what day of the week it is. I get confused.
Well, this is kind of a screwball thing because you don't have the same. It's very it's not rotational. It's like you're 2 days and you got 3 days off, and then 2 days, and then you got It's
I also have a little bit of an aversion against the date because I live by these dates. All the show notes, every folder with clips, every show notes, the MP3 itself is all in the format of NA-episode number -year-month-day, and I literally see my life passing before my eyes when I do the show. And the older I get, the more annoying it becomes.
10 years.
The older I get, it's like every time, no, it's September. What? We're almost in October? What? I went to visit Christina before I left. It's 28, man. She's hanging out with her friends. Like, what am I even doing here?
What are you going to do? Hang out with a bunch of 28-year-olds? Is that what you're angling for?
Yeah, I did. It was fun. I was hanging out with the 28. I learned a lot. What
do you think what's this old man doing here?
I learned about the Pluto in Scorpio kids. Bet you haven't heard of that, huh?
Lay it on us.
All right. So you got your you got your millennials, right? Then you and after that, like from 95, you got your Generation Z. But there's this apparent, and it's a thing. You can Bing it. There's the Pluto in Scorpio kids born between 85 and 95. It's just one decade, and they are the ones who are supposed to be the leaders who show the path for these other generations who are so misguided and ill.
Yeah, I don't know what they call them. I mean, I guess you could call them that. Would be JC Buzzkill Jr.
Yes, exactly. But it's apparently
he acts like that.
Like he's, hey, I'm here to save y'all. Damn it.
Pretty much. Yeah, like your buddy Beto down there.
Beto. Is it Beto? Beto.
I don't know. Beto. So you say tomato. I say Beto.
I saw a little bit of the debate, and I noticed you had clips. I'm very pleased you do, because you having clips of a Republican debate in Texas means it must have been pretty funny or worthwhile listening to at minimum. No.
This Beto guy was interesting because he's if we want to start with that, or we want to start with your report from Europe, because I think your report we can get into this, but I do have a lot of opinions about this little Texas thing going on down there.
Okay, I don't have much of a report, but just a couple things that I picked up on. There is such a problem, and I'll just call it a Moroccan problem in the Netherlands. And when I tell people about what's happening with the Moroccans, people are like, wow, the immigration really messed up the Netherlands. And I had to think about it. Say, no, hold on. They had specific Moroccan immigration from 96 or 97, because I'll recall moving back to the Netherlands, and Pim Fortuyn was just coming up, and I was like, holy crap, something's happened here. The Netherlands was really more like a beta program for all other EU countries for this type of immigration. But I really noticed it when I was staying with my buddy, and after the show on Thursday, I said, well, you're hungry? Want to get some? Yeah, I want some shawarma, because I can't be in Holland without having some shawarma, which is made by... Shawarma is pita bread, and it's it's been around in the Netherlands for 40 or 50 years. Originally, Ben Cohen, my buddy in Amsterdam, he was one of the first to set it up, and So you got a big hunk of lamb's meat, and it's on the rotating spit vertically. And it's all about the special.
It's different than a gyro.
It's very different from a gyro. It's all in the herbs, and then you eat that with a red kind of salsa sauce, and on top of that a white garlic sauce. It's a very Dutch thing, particularly later at night if you've gone out.
Middle Eastern.
It is, but it's very Dutch.
Still, we have to. I don't want to condemn the Dutch cuisine, but it's all stolen.
Oh yeah, the Dutch, all their cuisine is.
They don't have
potatoes. It's potatoes, potatoes, and a little bit of meat and fish on Friday. Yeah, that's the Dutch. The Dutch have no cuisine. Yeah, so of course it's all stolen. But so we were in Laren, which is one town over from Hilversum. Hilversum is
cultural appropriation.
Oh yeah, the Dutch are filled with that.
Right,
yeah, but the mosque have been blasting at 110 decibels for decades in Holland, and people. The Dutch people are very willing, and they kind of got suckered into it, but now they're realizing it's the beta program. And my buddy said, "Well, it's in Hilversum. We'll have to go over the highway." I'm like, "It's the next town over." He said, "No. He has he was driving a Mercedes, which he borrowed, and he said, I can't drive this car through there on a Thursday night. It's too. We could get carjacked." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? In Hilversum, where I used to work, where I did television and radio from." For years in my younger days, says, "Yep, that's how bad it's gotten," and it's so it's this very odd, situation that you don't recognize the country.
Huh.
Then in the news, a lot of talk, and it's kind of filtering through to M5M about how the Dutch and paperwork is now coming up, and there's the Dutch equivalency of Freedom of Information Act being filed and responded to. It appears the Dutch finance not just a lot of the White Helmets activity in Syria, but also a lot of the, let's just call it the coup in Kiev. That there was a lot of Dutch money financing the shenanigans that went on there, and now people are speaking about...
What?
Yes. Speaking
you
about...
think that could account for the shoot down?
Would you think? Would you think? And... So people are now saying, hey, what are we? Are we part of, the American regime toppling network? Well, yes, network. Indeed. The Dutch, the toppling network.
ATN, the American Toppling Network.
That's a network you can monetize if you're in the right camp. Wait, so now the U.S. apparently are in a deal with the Netherlands for U.S. Intelligence and military to access sovereign Dutch ground, sovereign territory at any time, including Curacao, which is important because if you look at the map, Curacao is down there, above Venezuela, and it's, northern Africa, not that far from Libya. So, there's a lot of different reasons why that could be strategically interesting.
Venezuela, Libya, there's nowhere near each other. What are you saying here?
Did I say Libya? I meant Venezuela. Not Libya. Venezuela.
Yeah, okay.
It's right underneath Curacao. Well, hold on. Let me look at the map for a second. What else is near there? Hold on. I don't think I'm that far. Let me see what else is near there. Let's see.
Well, Colombia's next to it. I don't know where Colombia's a little bitty operation up north.
It's right. Yeah, it's right off of. It's right above, kind of northeast, I guess. No, north. Yeah, northwest. You got Aruba, Curacao. You got Colombia. You got a lot of important stuff there. Anyway, now it turns out that the Dutch may be joining the Five Eyes.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be 6 eyes or 5 eyes and a toenail.
6 eyes, it'd be cross eyes.
5 eyes and a broken toenail. I'm not quite sure what they're going to call it. But, yeah.
Oh, this is like an international network of intrigue.
Uh-huh. Well, we always knew the Dutch were kind of...
We went less of this, not more.
But the Kiev thing, you nailed it. It's like, well, hold on a second. What got shot down? A flight full of Dutch people. You got to think something's weird. Something weird is happening.
Somebody on that flight. We have never really... Have we ever looked at the manifest?
Yes, there were... The only thing that really popped up at the time, if I recall, was about 5 doctors who were on their way to an alternative medical summit where they cured AIDS.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always wonder about this. The opportunity for these spooks to kill a plane full of passengers to get to one guy.
Yeah, to get to one
has happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll have to call my friend King Lex, ask him what's going on. Hey, King. I'm sure he knows all about it. Let me see. What else did I learn? I learned that the children.
Hold on. Do you think that maybe, you talk about this being the Dutch being the beta test for this? Let's bring a bunch of Africans in from the northern areas and some other Middle Easterners. You think that maybe the entire diversity movement, which began about 20 years ago, was a pretext just to get people kind of just like like their body punches, the diversity body punches to get people
to get them, soften them up, get them ready for it.
Soften them up.
Sure.
Let's move these guys in there.
Sure. But the sad thing is it's so over accepted now that, now that people are kind of onto it and like, wait a minute, this isn't quite working out very well for us. It's way too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
You've got the immigrant Moroccans now, the second or third generation. They're in Parliament. They are part of the political system now.
Well, as well they should be if they're running the place.
Yeah, yes. But some of the dare I say old white Dutch people are going, what happened?
Well, it's the old white Dutch people that let it happen.
Yeah. Well,
so what are you going to do?
Let me see I learned the kids these days love the theremin. However, they showed me their instrument of choice when it comes to the theremin. It's something you will have to Bing to go look at some YouTube videos. The Badgermin.
The Badgermin.
Yes. Badgermin. You should probably Bing that. And you'll see what the Badgermin is. And I think I need one. I don't know if you can buy them off the shelf. You
probably do need one.
I don't know if you can buy them off the shelf or if you have to construct it yourself, but I really like the idea. Do you have it yet? Did you find it?
No.
Oh, well, if I tell you, then it's not as funny.
I'm not sitting here with the keyboard and have rated. Here's one. There's a little movie, The Badgermin.
Yes,
Badgermin played properly. It looks like a theremin. It's got the two hands.
Yeah, but
the guy's dicking around.
Instead of a theremin, it's a badger.
Instead of a it's a badger?
Yeah, instead of a theremin, so instead of a board, they took a dead badger and mounted a theremin on it.
Oh, there's a badger there. They stuck a thing in his head.
Yeah, they created
This is not for sale.
Yeah, I don't know. I want one, though.
It's listed. It's listed on the Classic FM station website as one of the 13 weirdest musical instruments ever.
What, the Badgermin or the theremin?
The Badgermin.
I just liked it. Like, okay. Anyway,
yeah, okay.
Anyway, so we had it. Of course, Tina had already gone off to be with her sisters and family, and so I got home when Saturday morning. I flew back, and pretty uneventful. Tired though. I was groggy this morning. Oh, by the way, when you're boarding, they always have the pre-boarding stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's people with kids. It's been expanded now to, you always have, no matter what airline it seems.
It depends on the carrier.
But the kids always go, young children go first on almost every carrier.
No, not on the Southwest.
Yes, on Southwest.
No, on Southwest, they go after the A group. Between the A and the B group, the kids go on, yes.
Okay, well, who always also on Southwest gets to go on first is active military. I mean, I've always wondered, what is active military? Do you have to, be in combat fatigues? Do you have to have your weapon with you? What is active? You have to
be ready to gun down people there.
They say active.
You have to be active. You have to be hauling some artillery onto the plane.
I don't know. Material. Here I am with my carry-on material. What is this active military bullcrap? It's either military or not active. It hit me all of a sudden. What is going on with this?
Well, it's a misnomer. What it means is that you're currently serving and you're going from place to place, but you're in the military.
Yeah.
That is your current job.
Yes. Okay. Well,
that's my guess.
It just sounds a little strange.
No, it does. It sounds like you're going to be shooting up the place.
Yeah, it does.
Military.
The only other thing I'd like to mention off the top, just as a quick dip into the OTG world, something I noticed with the Kyocera, and I think I have a theory as to why it was happening. the battery would not last as long as it does here in the States. I'm talking like really losing 5% an hour.
Okay.
Not even using it, just it being stationary.
Yeah, somebody's tapping into it.
No, that was my first inclination.
That'd be mine.
I believe they use different frequencies in the EU for their 4G LTE or 4GE. I don't know if they have LTE.
Oh, that could be. You think you should choose up more juice?
Yeah, I think maybe because of some interpretation of the radio, or I don't know how it's built. But that is a problem because it's not going to fly to have it, basically work a couple hours and then need to be charged.
Well, you can flop the battery out, can't you?
You can, but so then I got an extra battery, but still, it's going too fast. It's going too fast, and that's without even using it.
You should look into it.
Yeah. Well, I
want to say something. Now that you mentioned it, that the fact that you can't flop the battery out, swap from, like take 3 or 4 batteries with you, and the thing goes dead, you put a new one in. The fact that you can't do that on most phones today is an abomination.
It's a communist plot.
It's an abomination.
It is. I'm in total agreement. But someone, one of our producers did find another phone, which, this damn Kai OS, which I really liked. So you have the Cat B35 mobile phone, which is, they are now selling as, a feature phone with some smartphone capability, i.e., you have a modern browser. But now Google bought them. I think we may have discussed this. Google bought them. Here it is. Get ready for Cat B35. Perfect for those who need a reliable and tough phone, but also some of the functionality of a smartphone. And so now they've put in Google Assistant. I don't think you can get that out of it if they've put it in at the operating system level.
You don't want that.
No, it's an atrocity. It was a good operating system. I had a lot of hope for those guys, and then they sold out to Google. Bastards.
The money is there, and it's like, what would you do?
I'd do the same.
It's like the Borg.
We'd both do the same thing. Yeah, screw it. Sell it to Google. Let's go eat oysters.
Let's go to Paris.
Let's go see Pierre. Let's have our hair done. That's like the podcast network that got sold to, wait for it, iHeartRadio.
Aren't they broke?
Yeah, they're about to go completely belly up, as far as I can tell. I mean, I don't know how they're still holding on. But yeah, there's $55 million. They probably put that much into it.
Yeah, some of these deals that are just pretty much playing poker.
Yeah. Anyway, none of that is really important. What hit me on the flight home is learning of your unceremonious dismissal by email from some winky wonk from your 36-year vocation as writer. Have you been writing for PC Mag for 36 years?
No. Actually, I started in August 1986, and I was continuous ever since. I was going for the records.
So how many years is that? 30.
About 32.
32.
Over 30. And so I'm going for the record because I know these other guys have been, they've faded out. They couldn't handle it.
Which other guys? Oh,
I mean, a lot of guys died.
Well, back.
They couldn't keep up.
Back up and explain what happened, just so people have some context.
Yes, I got fired out of the blue. Technically, I got put on hiatus, which we all know what that means. The half a brain knows what that means.
Yeah.
Although it's not, we do have a contract. My wife, of course, is going to give him grief because there was a contractual obligation to send us a thing in writing and do all these things.
Oh, they're screwed. Oh, the Dvorak legal team is all over it. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Mimi's relentless.
And there's no such thing as hiatus in the contract. So this is bull crap. And, but, they got some newbie came in, a social justice warrior. If you looked at the newsletter, I have a few of her many tweets about Trump's a dumb shit and he's a moron and just all the same. It's just might as well put the name Rob Reiner on there and you got the same kind of tweets on it. And I realize that everybody in New York is like this.
Well, but not only that, you wrote something in the newsletter about this, which I did not realize, and I don't think we've ever even discussed, that you had tried to get PC Magazine to at least mention the No Agenda Show whenever they did one of those lists of great podcasts to listen to. and which I did not know you had attempted to do, but they refused apparently, or just would never put us on anywhere. Their own guy
just never put us on.
Man,
and they got a lot of lame podcasts on that list. It's a very poorly done list, but it's done by one of the problem is this stuff is all. I know how these magazines work. So you give it to a couple of people, make a list and put it in the next issue.
Yeah, we've done that.
And they put their favorite things on the list. And they got, what about Dvorak? He works for us. He's got a podcast. Got 2 of them, actually. We listen to him. That guy's like a lunatic.
Oh, right, loony.
He's right-winger Trump apologist. But there's none of that in the DH Unplugged show. They could have put that in there. That's a pretty well recognized.
Well, considering PC Mag often links to stock quotations, I would say it would be. Was that Market Watch more? I guess Market Watch.
That was Market Watch.
Now
PC Mag never did that.
Anyway, the whole point is, look, and it feels a bit like me at MTV at a certain point, 7.5, 8 years at MTV as dog years. My stay was kind of getting there, and that's why I eventually wound up leaving myself.
Well, I would have left myself.
Yeah, but I
had the record to set. I was going for 40 years. At least 35.
Well, besides that, it's just it would have been nice if someone had, I don't know, called you.
Yeah, nobody called to this day. In fact, I still haven't gotten a note from anybody. It's just, all I got was that terse note from this woman, this SJW. And
now
do you sent the same note to everybody else too? By the way, there's 2 other. I know that. Well, one for sure, Tim Baharin, who's also a columnist at PC Mag.
Is he also an old white man?
He's no, he's not white. He's kind of a mixed race guy.
Racism.
But he's old and he's a male.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. I feel a lawsuit.
Well, it's hard to sue over this sort of contract work. Anyway, so he got the exact same terse note and found it to be very offensive.
Yeah.
And he never heard from anybody. So they just, I don't know what happened, but they've gone off the rails. I do have an email from someone that I thought was interesting. I think if I have it here, hang on. This was actually quite a fascinating note this guy wrote in. Yeah, this is from. I'm probably going to print this on one of the websites. This is from. We'll call him Peter I. It's a disgrace what PC Mag did to you. Someone has spent such a long time in that place, and with such a professional caliber as the one you hold, should be treated with a whole lot more respect than that blatantly dismissive email. It talks volumes about the new editorial management staff and their values, but they don't care about their audience either. They disrespect them as much as they did you. I ditched my digital subscription to PC Mag after the turn to consumerism brought upon by an editorial change over a decade ago. Not long after, I also ditched the PC Mag webpage over their incredible turn towards a Mac magazine done with barely any PC content whatsoever. The only thing that kept me visiting from time to time was your column, and as you described in the newsletter, it was being hidden on purpose and had become a feat to find. To get more conversation topics with my son, I turned to a Ziff Davis sister online publication, IGN. At the time of that switch several years ago, I was aghast at how much PC-related information I could find on that console and PC gaming site than on PC Mag. Nowadays, IGN seems to have given an amazing leap forward in the SJW arena and has surpassed PC Mag's cultural Marxists, leading at least by a year or two, going as far as baiting its readers with columns, articles, and opinion pieces that have absolutely nothing to do with gaming and everything to do with postmodernism, to the point that I barely visit their place. Just yesterday, IGN was pushing Michael Moore's latest anti-Trump movie. What does that have to do with gaming? I have no idea.
I got to be honest with you. I also kind of like all the hate comments about this particular story. He hasn't been relevant for 20 years. He was wrong about everything. It just keeps on going.
There's always a couple of those guys. It's usually the same guys.
Well, it sucks. It would, it's not like we don't know that all things come to an end. Like this show will eventually come to an end, by death more likely than anything. And it's jury's out on who's going to die first. But, it's like...
You start hanging out with those 28-years.
Yeah, it'll happen quick. But, it's like, there was an end to everything. But just a call, that's the part that I don't understand. Just like, hey,
I haven't been fired for too many jobs, but when I do get fired.
Yeah.
But I mean, recently because of the magazine pullbacks. When I was writing for Forbes, and it was typical, the way you do it is like, hey, it's like the Office Space, the Lumbergh guy. Hey, can you give us a call?
Yeah.
Just give us a call. I got
that'd be great.
We need to talk.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Need to talk. And then they talk to you and they tell you, you're kind of too expensive, and we're going to go in another.
John,
we're going to go in another direction.
I think I've even fired you once, kind of. Didn't I had to fire you kind of at Mevio or something?
No, you never fired me. You cut me back.
I cut your salary. I cut your salary. Like, hey, old white man, guess what? We're going.
The deal because I was getting this ridiculous health insurance that apparently was costing the company $4,000 a month or something.
Yeah, the health insurance was well worth. I remember that. Oh, keep me on, man, for health insurance. Okay, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Yeah, but that's how it goes. It's unfortunately, but at least I called you. I called you and said, "Hey, here's what's going down," and I told you what the story was, and you're like, "Oh crap," but okay, because you're smart. You understand how things work. It was unceremonious of PC Mag. Yeah, I love you. Well, I've canceled my subscription. I'm boycotting.
A lot of people are writing notes to this Wendy woman.
Oh gosh.
And what's she going to do? She's just not going to even read them. You have to write notes to the CEO if you want to get any action. Yeah. So I'll just tell people if you're going to do anything. Right. It's meaningless.
So, the thing that is, to me, also entertaining is people say, wow, do a value for value column. Like, you guys don't know, John. This is not going to happen. There will be no value for value column. There will be no Agenda magazine. I do have
a good idea for a website. I'm probably going to do so and keep the real loss for me is not like the PC Magazine column. It's the moniker, so I can get review products.
Yeah, chicks.
Yeah, chicks. Man, they're flocking to the house. There's one outside now.
PC Mag groupies, baby.
Anyway, so you can look for that in sometime in the future.
Well, since you brought up Michael Moore, then let me kick it off with today's program.
Bring him up. Pedro did.
Well, you're right. All right. He was on Bill Maher this weekend. Promoting his new product.
Apparently, the movie is a complete, according to Hollywood Reporter and Variety, the movie is a complete tank. It's just in the tank.
Interesting. When I was listening, because I have not seen it, of course, when I was listening to this interview, I thought to myself, this could be a shark jump moment for this guy. And, I have a couple clips. I was fortunate enough to be able to catch the whole interview. He was the opening interview, which is usually about 10 minutes.
The little bitty one in the front?
Yeah, about 10 minutes. So I broke it down. And let's start off with an intro. And, the movie is 11/9 instead of 9/11. I guess
bad idea.
Yeah, I don't think that was the best title choice either. But let's listen to the intro and they set this up a little bit. And I can, no spoiler here, where the movie and everything, this whole interview, in fact, is all about getting people to vote for Democrats in the midterms.
Well, and you have done it again, Maestro. I don't know how you keep doing it. You do what journalism should do, which is you make what's important interesting.
I like how first he's going to say you're like a journalist, but then later it's going to be to get people to vote Democrat.
Yeah. And compelling, and you can't take your eyes off it. And this movie, first of all, the title fell right in your lap there, didn't it?
Yeah. He was appointed president at 2:29 in the morning on 11/9.
That's spooky.
16. Yeah.
Woo, spooky. Woo. Are they like 11/9 truthers now? Is that now a thing? Instead of a 9/11 truther, it's an 11/9 truther. It's so spooky. It fell in your lap. Yes, it was a prophecy. It was the elders of Zion.
Lap there, didn't it?
Yeah. He was appointed president at 2:29 in the morning on 11/9.
That's spooky.
16.
Yeah.
Spooky.
So
it's just spooky.
The movie coming out right before the election, obviously, you want that.
Yeah, because he's a journalist. He does what journalists don't do.
You don't make any bones about it. You're a polemicist like I am. We want people to agree with our point of view.
Yes.
Vote.
Like all journalists.
And vote.
And vote.
Is that the main message you want to What's the main thing you want people to come away knowing from this?
It's not a democracy if you're sitting on the bench. Everybody has to get off the bench. Everyone has to participate. It's not a spectator sport.
It's a republic.
Right.
But what the movie shows and tries to explain as to why sometimes people stay on the bench. And I get into talking about this, about the Democratic Party, and it's a bit of a balancing act in this film because it's, you know,
when I heard him say it's a bit of a balancing act in this film, that to me was already a flag that said, this may not work out so well. I don't know why, but to hear you say that Hollywood Reporter says it's a dud doesn't surprise me.
Act in this film because it's, you know, it's listed as Michael Moore's Trump film, but nobody wants to go to the theater and look at Trump for 2 hours.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what your fans want to see.
No.
So I do a favor for the audience. Right. I don't think you see him more than 20 minutes in the film. But it is about the Trumpian time in which we live.
Okay, the Trumpian time. I think that's a mistake right there. We know Trump is ratings. We know it doesn't matter who's watching. They want to watch him. Isn't that what we've learned?
Yes, we've learned that. We've learned a lot. And I don't think this guy's learned anything. In fact, he had a clue early on when he thought that Trump would win, if you remember. Mm-hmm. He said, I think Trump's going to win because I don't think they know anybody else is talking to the right people. I don't think Hillary's got a chance. He went on about this, as you recall. We played his clips on the show. Yep. And then within a few weeks, he backed off on it because I guess he got nothing but grief from all his Hollywood friends. What are you saying this for? Hillary's going to win. She's got to win. If this idiot wins, we're screwed.
So then So
he changed his mind and went back into the wrong. He went, I think he
non-commercial direction
right there.
Yeah. Well, so he does talk about the Democrats as well, and he knocks Obama, which I didn't clip any of that, but he does some good Obama bashing. But also regarding the superdelegate situation, and he's very clear about that. And then when you kind of like, okay, he's got something good there, then it's back to racist rhetoric.
The DNC a few weeks ago, they had a meeting and they said they got rid of the superdelegates, but they didn't. People need to understand this. All they did was say the superdelegates cannot vote on the first ballot at the convention. After that, they could vote on every ballot and everything else. So they did not get rid of the superdelegates. And to the Republicans' credit, they actually don't have superdelegates. Whoever's at that convention is, whoever is there to represent the white people that voted for them.
Oh, there we go. There you go. I mean, that's racist? Those white people who voted for Trump. Okay.
So, does he ever look in the mirror, note that he's a white guy, an old white man?
Not in this context. He's honorary black guy, I guess.
White people that voted for them. The white people deserve a party, Bill. Oh. They're Americans too.
No, they are. That's very true. That's how Trump won. He made his people feel like a minority.
Huh? Stop. Let's insult the American public, which is self-identified as white. 77% of the American public that includes
including a lot of Hispanics.
A lot of Hispanics, or because they're Spanish descent, they consider themselves white. They don't consider themselves anything else. Yeah. To just continue, and for the Democrats to continuously insult this group of people over and over and over is what kind of a strategy is this?
Yeah, well, if you want people to go to your movies, not a good one, apparently.
Trump won. He made his people feel like a minority.
Right.
They still think that. I mean, they think reverse racism is a bigger problem than racism. I mean,
wow. They think reverse racism is a bigger problem than racism. How about just racism, Bill? How about all racism? I don't know, flabbergasted by this guy. And let me ask you another question. When it comes to elections, what is one of the big talking points of all parties, but specifically the Democratic Party? What is their issue with Republicans? It'll come up again. Campaign finance reform. Oh, there's money. Oh, it's too much money. Rich people putting money. Oh, we have to get rid. Am I right or wrong on that?
It's one of their big issues that they never do anything about. And in most instances, the Democrats outspend the Republicans. They did so with Hillary versus Trump. Hillary outspent Trump by almost 2-1, I think. I know it was more than.
Wait, forget the spending. Let's forget the spending.
Wait. Also, Obama's a big, huge.
Forget that. How about just rich people? It's, Koch brothers this, Koch brothers. They don't even put into.
No, the most rich people.
Yeah, but they're complaining about the money, about
Democrats.
people putting money into elections. That is the main beef. Got to get rid of money. I've got to get rid of the money out of elections. Unless you're Bill Maher and put in $1 million, then you're a hero.
In this small little example, you see how sometimes the Democrats really screw it up. They're the party of the people. They should be there for the people. They should fight for the people. But the good news about this election in November is that people like myself and others, you've contributed to the DSCC.
I'm still feeling it.
But where do you get this money?
Because no divorces, no alimonies. Really. People ask me this all the time. No divorces, no alimonies, no kids.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no kids, those horrible resources.
No stupid hobbies like celebrities have. I don't collect fucking cars or motorcycles or paintings. I don't do coke or hooker.
Oh, really? No coke, Bill? Okay.
No, all of the crazy shit that people do, I don't do. So and the Mets. So there's a lot of money but that's what I spend it on.
Right.
Which is okay, because if you're Bill Maher, then it's okay to spend $1 million into politics. It's fine then.
Right.
That's what, because...
Well, thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And what I and others have done have gone out
Yes, and let's do it more.
To run for office.
And by the way, that million looked sillier 5 weeks ago when I did it because the Senate didn't look like it's in play. It is in play. It is very much in play.
Yes,
it's in play. Thank goodness money changes elections. Remember he tried to recruit... Steve Ballmer on the last episode of his show.
Yeah.
More money that we want into elections. Last clip, and this, I think this is borderline defamatory, maybe even, what's the word? Maybe.
Libelous?
Maybe libelous, yeah. I thought that this one went pretty far.
Lost in the story about Professor Ford is that she had to move out of her house, and she gets death threats, and there's a smear campaign on the internet.
So now talking about, we're on to the Supreme Court nomination with Kavanaugh and Professor Ford. Yes.
And things go viral, and we've become this death threat society.
Yeah.
And, people say to me sometimes, do you think this could get violent? I think it is violent. But I also think that's Trump's next card to play. I've already seen him talking about it. If the Democrats take...
And this isn't even the libelous part of the clip.
Take over, he says, they're very violent people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're the violent people.
Right.
He always turns it, you're the puppet.
Right.
Always turns it around. But that's what he has when the Mueller report comes out or when some other thing crashes down on him.
He's the violent person. He's the sexual predator.
Oh, totally.
He is an admitted sexual predator. And I don't mean just Billy Bush boss. You're the only person on TV who will state exactly what, if anybody is a public high school teacher in here, a public school teacher, there's a law in the state of California and in most states that if, let's say, your 13-year-old girl student comes to you and says, my dad keeps saying that if I weren't his daughter, he'd be dating me. My dad said the other day that the thing that we have most in common is sex. This picture my dad wanted me to take with me sitting on his lap and kissing him. If you were a teacher and were given that, you were required by the law to turn him in.
Because he's a pedophile, apparently, John. That's what I hear Michael Moore saying. He's a pedophile, and he probably boffed Ivanka. I mean, he might as well just say that.
That you've shown this on your show. He did this when she was a tween, when she was a teen, and he bragged about how voluptuous my daughter is. And she's
where did the ugly orange man? Show me on the doll where he touched you.
Teenager. The thing is that we let him get away with this. The media let him get away with it. All his friends in the media
let him get away with it.
Bless Moonvis.
He was getting away with it.
Yeah,
with what?
Well, with pedophilia.
With who?
With his daughter.
What proof of there is this? He's just one of these loving. You've seen these guys in the past. You see a lot more than you do today. You look at some of these old TV shows, you can see that people are a little less reluctant to like hug a kid.
What Michael Moore is saying is, if you were a school teacher and Trump said these things,
Trump should have been turned in by now,
and his friends let him get away with it, and then he goes straight to Moonves, who, as far as I know, was not Donald Trump's friend. Quite the opposite. Just because Moonves got kicked out for harassment and abuse doesn't necessarily make him a pedophile too.
When she was a teen, and he bragged about how voluptuous my daughter is, and she's a teenager. The thing is that we let him get away with this. The media let him get away with it. All his friends in the media, Les Moonves, Roger Ailes, all the Bill O'Reillys, the Matt Lauers. I show this all in the film.
The Matt Lauers, was a big Trump fan.
Bill Shine is now,
yes, exactly.
Who was the guy at Fox News when Roger Ailes was there covering, and Bill O'Reilly. Now he's the advisor to Trump in the White House, prepping Brett Kavanaugh, the Republican. They're always 6 degrees from sexual harassment, that party.
Yeah. It's a lot closer than just 6 degrees of it.
Gee, I don't know. If we were to count, it looks like a lot more left-leaning dudes have been locked up or kicked out for #MeToo. Could just be me.
They believe in this. That's why they don't like this woman who's come forward, and they want to go after her now. And they've given her till tonight or something.
Right. That's ridiculous.
Well, right now, I think, when we're on the air.
Because women love ultimatums. That's what...
Yeah, especially those who have been victimized by men. Nothing like saying to a potential rape victim, you got till 10 o'clock.
Especially when it's...
to tell us about the rape.
That's pretty much what the Democrats are asking for. Tell us about the rape. Tell us about the death threats that Kavanaugh bestowed upon you. And, both these guys are childless, so what would they know about calling someone a pedophile? What would they know about the love you might have for a child? How you can be proud for a child? Look, I love my kid's beautiful. I wouldn't be dating her, but, okay, it's a TV show, you say something funky, but it wasn't a pedophile remark.
You guys are out of control. But the more I listen to this stuff, I keep thinking to myself, is this going to cause a backlash at the polls?
Well, how about the box office? It starts there.
Well, the box office, he killed the box office.
Oh, he did?
But the whole idea of the movie is nothing. It's just you can tell.
He killed the box office. I thought it was a dud.
Yeah, well, he killed the box office, but did the movie have any legs to begin with? Is this anything that hasn't been rehashed a million times? It's just a bunch of Trump hate? You can go on Twitter and get it for free. You don't have to pay the $10 to go see the movie.
Get it for free.
Get it free.
Let me see. Hollywood Reporter. Anyway, I'll look for it.
It came out a couple of days ago. There was a headline. I'm on their mailing list, and they had put it out, and then it just got pushed.
10 million opening week? No, 10 million opening weekend.
That's probably going to be about it total.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be much more. No. Shoot, this is a confusing story. Anyway, I don't think it's going to do. It just won't. But it's like what I was telling you about Tina. She regardless of politics, she doesn't want to hear what Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the billionaire, has to say about Trump. She wants her to be funny on TV, and she will purposely not read her opinion because she doesn't want to ruin it when she's watching. Whatever the
acting,
acting, whatever the show is called,
Veep,
yeah, which is a great show. I understand this. Like, you ruin it for me.
Yeah, these people are ruining their brand.
Yeah, well, it's clean
really
up.
Stupid.
It'll clean up a lot. So that was kind of a lead into to Supreme Court related stuff, which I do have a few clips for. I don't know what you have, if anything, on the topic.
Well, I have a couple of things. I got the woman's, which I refer to as CBF.
Before you do that, would you mind if I just played a compilage?
No, go do your thing.
The compilage, although this would have worked on the previous episode of No Agenda as well, as one of those supercuts. It's this is when we were really talking about the issue of a panel of white men who are going to make the decision. And And just the vitriol.
What panel of white men might this be?
This would be the Judiciary Committee.
Really? It's just funny because there's a bunch of women on that committee. Ted Cruz is a Cuban. Or I guess maybe he probably self-identifies as white.
Well, what's the 11 men then?
And what's his name? What's his name? The character from Massachusetts, the black guy who's gone off the Booker. Kamala Harris is black.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me see what the 11 men.
Who are these 11 men?
I'm looking it up now. Let me see. The 11 men. Isn't it a subset of the committee?
No, it is the committee. The committee is a subset of the Senate.
Well, maybe they're talking just about Republican men on the. No, it says, how will the image of what is this 11? Now I feel stupid.
This is a bull crap thing. This is typical.
It's not even true. It's not even a panel of 11 dudes.
There's no 11. No, not 11 white guys.
Well, where'd they come up with this then?
Well, where are you talking? What's
everywhere? Everywhere. All male lineup. Oh, GOP senators might get female aides to question. Oh, okay. So I understand now. What they're saying is the Republican senators who are on the panel are all old white men, and there's 11 of them, and it's because they, by definition, have a majority. That it's just the 11 white men who will make the decision. The Democratic votes don't matter. I think that's what's being implied. Are we on board with that?
For the purposes of this debate, yes.
Once again, it will be all white men on the Republican side of the Judiciary Committee questioning both Judge Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford.
The Republicans that are on the Judiciary Committee, it is a lineup of white guys over the age of 50.
All the white men on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
You've got all white men on the Republican side here.
On the Republican side, all 11 are white men. The Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee, it's 11 white men. And the Republicans, it is 11 white men. The Republicans, it happens to be 11 white men.
Are these white Republican men essentially going to ask her if she's telling the truth?
25 years since the Anita Hill hearings, what hasn't changed is the number of white men. I know, have covered lots of these white men.
And so at the end of the day, if they have a bunch of white men, once again, defending another white man.
You have 70-something-year-old white men. No offense to them.
No
don't
offense.
Like the process being disrupted.
On the Senate Judiciary Committee is all white men.
Almost worst case scenario for a bunch of white men on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
If you're white, you're a racist. If you're male, you're a pig.
Woohoo, baby!
If you're cis, you are privileged.
I mean, do they want me to watch their station? I am over 50. I am white. They should have thrown in straight just for good measure.
A cis.
No, they said cis. You're right. They said cis.
Gendered.
Cis. Come on. I love those compilages. They're my favorite.
Who did that one?
Supercuts on that. It's always in the show notes. NAshownotes.com. And they always do fun stuff, but they didn't do. I like it when they don't put music under it, so you can cut out ones.
Yes,
that are
I
good.
prefer that too. I don't like the guys who try to, hey, let's get
Sex
artistic and put some crappy music under that maybe people won't like. It's a very bad idea. The stuff stands alone too.
It does.
It's nice and when it's clean.
Yeah, you don't have to prove that you're Steven Spielberg. It's fine. We're very happy.
Yeah.
Let me see. Do I have anything else as backgrounder? No, I have some other clips, but let's see what you've got.
Let's go to the real rundown. This CBF real rundown stalling, and this is actually the little punchline at the end of this. This goes on from here, but this is what it's really all about.
While the details of when and how are still being finalized, the possibility of hearing directly from Christine Blasey Ford promises political fireworks that could derail President Trump's Supreme Court nomination. Kelly O'Donnell is with the president in New Jersey tonight and has the latest.
Tonight, the answer looks like yes for an extraordinary public hearing to happen next week with a lifetime Supreme Court appointment on the line. Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's lawyers informed the Senate Judiciary Committee today that she has accepted an invitation to provide what they called firsthand knowledge of Brett Kavanaugh's sexual misconduct. But the time, place, and details are still in dispute. A senior White House official reacted, "This seems like another delay tactic."
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. It seems like another delay tactic.
It is a delay tactic.
Yeah.
I have a clip about that.
Well, we'll play part 2 of this, and then you can play yours.
Tense negotiations remain underway to determine specifics, including whether Ford or Kavanaugh testifies first about her claim that when they were teens in the 1980s at a party with underage drinking, Kavanaugh groped her and tried to remove her clothes. Kavanaugh categorically denies that allegation. Today, the judge was spotted leaving his Maryland home and has said he will go back to Capitol Hill to defend his integrity. At a conservative conference today, the vice president said Kavanaugh will be confirmed.
The president and I are confident that Senate Republicans will manage this confirmation properly with the utmost respect for all concerned.
The president expressed similar enthusiasm last night in Missouri.
He was born for the U.S. Supreme Court. He was born for it. And it's going to happen.
And Ford's lawyers said in their letter to the committee that they are disappointed in the leaks and the bullying. The White House also tells me that they are frustrated by the process, saying delays are unfair to the nominee who wants to clear his name and testify.
Yeah, so this next clip that I have will kind of show, and it refers to your previous one, that all of this is really meant to delay, and there's rules in the Senate, and it's really kind of plays into my original thesis that Trump doesn't want him confirmed. He's given him lots of outs to quit, ahead of the game, just get out to save his family. But I don't think he's going to get confirmed at all, and here's why.
Politically.
This is from MSNBC, which was surprising to hear this clarity on their so-called news channel.
Politically, weird. Matthew, this seems like a no-brainer for the White House to just, you know what, I got other people that I can get. I got other people that might excite the base more. I think about Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah. That's her.
Why are they putting they've got their own reputational issues on the ballot. Why add this?
Well, I think the big reason is the calendar. I think the Democratic strategy, it was apparent on day one of the confirmation hearings, is to delay the nomination past the election. To delay the nomination is to defeat the nomination. And if you're able to defeat the nomination, then the question becomes, well, who next? And what is the time frame for confirming that judge to the Supreme Court?
So they're sort of trapped by the calendar.
That time frame goes beyond the election, an election in which it's very possible that the Democrats win both the House and the Senate, then what you're looking at is an empty seat on the Supreme Court for 2 years. Mazie Hirono basically raised this possibility in a news conference just this week. So that's why the White House and Republicans nationally are behind this nomination, at least want to see both sides tell their story next week.
Right. But next week is going to be Thursday. And if it's Thursday, then there is some rule in the Senate that pushes the actual vote back, and it won't be until after the midterms, is my understanding. Which would kind of make sense on a long bet from Trump to use this as, oh my goodness, we have to keep the Senate at minimum.
Yeah, get out and vote.
Get out and vote. And otherwise, it'll just be 2 years without any confirmation, because it won't happen probably. But I think it's a hedge on his part. Here is Senator Mazie Hirono, confronted with some, again, this is from leftist.
Your favorite.
Yeah, she's pretty funny. This is Jake Tapper on CNN confronting her with the facts about all 4 witnesses that the judge, or that the professor has presented to be interrogated as witnesses.
So 4 people said to be at the party Ford described have denied knowledge of the incident. Brett Kavanaugh, obviously, Mark Judge, who she says was in the room, P.J. Smith, and even Ford's longtime friend Leland Kaiser. So there hasn't been a law enforcement investigation, but there are these statements from the 4 people she remembers being there who don't remember the incident or don't even remember being at the party in question, according to her friend Leland Kaiser, who says she believes her, but doesn't have any memory of it.
Yes.
Doesn't Kavanaugh have the same presumption of innocence as anyone else in America?
I put his denial in the context of everything that I know about him in terms of how he approaches his cases. As I said, his credibility is already very questionable in my mind and in the minds of a lot of my fellow Judiciary Committee members, the Democrats. So he comes and, when I say that he's very outcome driven, he has an ideological agenda, very outcome driven. And I
notice she's not addressing the question.
I can sit here and talk to you about some of the cases that exemplify
answer the question.
His, in my view, inability to be fair in the cases that come before. And this is a person that is going to be sitting on our Supreme Court making decisions that will impact women's reproductive choice. He very much is against women's reproductive choice. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you 2 very important cases in which he applied the same standard but came to totally different results.
There's a difference between applying the law, as she says here, and saying he's against women's reproductive choice. I don't know why why can't you just say pro-choice? Is that now verboten too?
That's the way, you want to present. She presents it. I think there's like talking points or some way of doing it.
Yeah, you present it as
meta. You get scolded by your parties. Yeah, you can't say it this way. Yeah. And Schumer's the guy behind all this, by the way.
Let's make sure. 2 very important cases in which he applied the same standard but came to totally different results to make it much harder for women to get this kind of coverage. So there's
just no evidence for what she said.
Many indications of his own lack of credibility.
It sounds to me like you're saying because you don't trust him on policy and because you don't believe him when he says, for instance, that
therefore he's a rapist.
Yes.
An opinion on Roe v. Wade. You don't believe him about this allegation about what happened at this party in 1982. Is that fair?
Well, this is why it is so important that there be at least an investigation so that there's some effort at collaboration. Yeah. We think that there was a lot of drinking going on. As far as his friend Mark Judge, not even testifying. That is astounding to me.
Astounding.
He was right there in that room. He refuses to testify.
Oh, jeez. He was right there in that room. Well, let's talk about that for a second.
I want to mention something, by the way. Mimi brought this up. She says there's not a girl in the world, especially at that age, who doesn't have a friend or two that she would, if this had happened, she would have been bitching and moaning about it to at least 3 women.
Yeah.
Because women talk to women.
They do.
That's what she says simply. Women talk to women. Yeah. Where are the women that would back her up that she'd ever mentioned this to anybody? She didn't. This never happened.
That's a good lesson, by the way. Women talk to women.
Yes, all men should pay careful attention to that commentary.
All old cis white guys, pay attention.
Old cis white guys know what we're talking about. Women talk to women.
Well, I was
about everything.
I was again astounded by CNN, who brought together a diverse panel, across what I could see was income levels in white cis female society, Republicans, and asked them about Kavanaugh and asked them about what they thought if this was true or what it meant for old allegations to come back up. I don't know if the producer of this segment is still working for CNN, but the results were kind of predictable, and they didn't even really edit it that much, as far as I can tell. Maybe people sit at home and get really upset. It's like, oh my God, these Republican women, they should not even be called women anymore. They're just horrible.
How many of you believe Judge Kavanaugh when he says this didn't happen?
I believe him.
Believe him too.
I do believe him. I believe him.
How can we believe the word of a woman or something that happened 36 years ago when this guy has an impeccable reputation? And there's nobody that has spoken ill will about him. Everyone that speaks about him, this guy's an altar boy, a scout. He's, because one woman made an allegation. Sorry, I don't buy it.
But in the grand scheme of things, my goodness, there was no intercourse. There was maybe a touch.
Right.
Can we really? 36 years later, she's still stuck on that? Had it happened?
I mean, we're talking about a 15-year-old girl, which I respect. I'm a woman. I respect. And we're talking about a 17-year-old boy in high school with testosterone running high. Tell me what boy hasn't done this in high school. Please, I would like to know.
Why would she come forward if this wasn't true? Because it has basically destroyed her family. She's had to move. She's gone undercover. She's got death threats.
We don't know any of this to be true.
So if she's lying, why come forward?
She's also destroying his life, his wife's lives, his children's lives, his career. Mm-hmm. I mean, why didn't she come out sooner if she's telling the truth?
Why didn't she come out when he was going into the Bush White House? Why didn't she come out when he's been a federal judge for over a decade?
Why not have a thorough investigation instead of just the two of them, he said, she said?
Because it doesn't matter. It does not matter what everyone else has to say.
This is what happened, though, with Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill. The FBI investigated. It took 3 days. Done. Why not now?
Well, this is not the same. This is a high school kid. I mean, it's not Anita Hill's story.
Does something that allegedly happened some 30 plus years ago matter today?
You can't judge the character of a man based on what he did at 17.
And I would hate to think that 30, 40 years later, somebody's going to destroy your life because somewhere at some party, it's not right. But maybe you're not supposed to.
Who brought the alcohol for these kids?
As women, though, do you have some sympathy for her for what she's going through?
No, I have no sympathy. And perhaps maybe at that moment she liked him, and maybe he didn't pay attention to her afterwards, and he went out with another girl, and she got bitter, or whatever the situation is. They're kids.
So this was a great example of women talk to women, and I think that this was borderline, suitable, because they were, there's a lot of things they were saying that I don't agree with. Like, oh, that's what 17-year-old boys do. No, I've never really done that. I don't think you've done that.
No, I've never jumped on some girl and tried to take her top off.
No, but so where you have, women talking to women like this, you'd expect women to be talking to women like another way on the other side. And the information it doesn't seem to be there. The only thing that was valuable that I caught again on CNN was the effect of alcohol on long-term memory, brought to you by Sanjay Gupta. And I believe she was also consuming alcohol at this party. Was she or was she not?
Yeah, it was a drunk fest from the sounds of it, at least the way it's been described. And that one woman does bring up a funny point, which would get somebody in trouble, I'll bet you, depending on the statute of limitations. Who bought the alcohol for these kids?
Yeah, I like that one too.
Back to the new developments in the Supreme Court confirmation battle. Christine Blasey Ford says she is willing to speak with the Judiciary Committee about her accusations of sexual assault against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. A topic likely to come up. How reliable is someone's memory when alcohol is involved? CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, breaks it down. Sanjay.
Well, Anna, I think there's a lot of assumptions when it comes to memory and alcohol, and oftentimes those assumptions are wrong. Let me start off by telling you this, that a lot of the research comes from witnesses to crimes. They took people who were intoxicated witnesses to crimes and sober witnesses to crimes, and they basically found that in the short term, if people were questioned right after a crime had occurred, there was not a lot of difference in terms of recalling details between someone who was mild to moderately intoxicated and someone who was sober. That was in the short term. So that surprised a lot of people. Now, there is something known as blackout drunk, which is not the same as passed out drunk.
Oh, okay.
Blackout drunk is when you can be talking, you can be walking, you can be interacting with people, but essentially you're totally amnestic to it, meaning you'll have no memory of it. There's also something known as gray out, which is essentially islands of memory. But basically, you're
I think that's what islands of
still really not remembering
gray
things.
Out.
There's also the component of time. How much time has passed since the event? And this is really important here because I think when you look at how memory is actually encoded, you realize that alcohol can have a real impact on a certain aspect of memory. So when we remember things, we look, we see, we hear, we feel, and those sensory inputs are immediately transferred into short-term memory. That happens pretty quickly. And that's why people, again, who are intoxicated can remember things pretty well. But it's that next phase, going from short-term to long-term, where alcohol sort of acts like a sledgehammer. And it's why people can remember things so vividly one day, and then a few days later, really have no recollection of it at all because the memories were never in those long-term stores. So Anna, that's just a little bit of an idea of how alcohol does impact memory, both in the short term and in the long term. Anna?
Interesting. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
That's not what I wanted to hear. Go away. Of course, it works both ways. Kavanaugh may be very truthful when he says, I don't remember that. It didn't happen. Well, long-term memory with alcohol doesn't stick, according to the good doctor.
There's something that keeps cropping up in the conversation. I don't find any reference to it being authentic or real, which is that supposedly she took a lie detector test and passed it.
Yeah.
And he should take one too, which is the meme. But what lie detector test did she take? Who gave it? When was it? I don't remember this. I mean, it wasn't covered very well. I think it's bull crap. There's a lot of this. Just as well, let's stop and back up, and we can just stop these clips and just say this whole thing is a charade. It's just it's a scam.
It is. And the scam is obvious. The scam is to delay until the calendar kicks in and then they can't confirm.
Yeah, so we get Beto in so we can move to that guy.
God. Just one last thing here.
Let me see if I get something else.
This whole debate, this Kavanaugh with the women and the Fords and the Chryslers and everybody in there, this has become the Twitter convo du jour, and it's destroying Twitter.
Twitter is really getting out of control.
People will leave the platform. They're going to leave the platform.
People are leaving the platform.
They are deplatforming themselves. Self-deplatformization.
Yes, I'm thinking about it.
Self-deplatforming. Yes. Yeah. Well, you need to self-deplatform out of California first. That would be my first order of business. We'll get to Beto in a second. Beto. Because
you
first,
say Beto, I say Beto.
Because first I have to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C. Yes, the man who put the C in PC Magazine, Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning to all the ships at the sea and the boots in the air and the subs in the water and all the dames and knights out there.
Yes, and in the morning to our troll room. Our troll room at noagendastream.com. Very good to have everybody there. It's nice to have the back room chat up as well. And now I have some screen real estate. Nice back here in the Drone Star State. That's where you can always find all of our trolls during the live show twice a week on Thursdays. Also in the morning to Mike Riley, who brought us the artwork for episode 1070. The title of the episode was Alexa in Alexis. And we had a tough time choosing the art. As predicted, a lot of people did the They Live robot face on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And Nick the Rat had the best version of the face, but man, was Mike Riley's artwork complete with, he had the Obey in the background. He had the no agenda.
It became a topic of conversation on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because I had chimed in on.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, well, because O'Neill and Nick and some others, they like to talk about sometimes, and I chimed in saying, well, the reason we picked what we did is because it was a little busier, and when you have a choice of being busy artwork in terms of having a lot of junk on the piece, as opposed to being super clean, unless it's incredibly elegantly funny. I mean, there has been moments where, like, for example, I think it was Martin J.J. or whoever, one of our regular guys from the past who did the simple Jeb Bush with the big bottle glasses, just these simple big eyeball glasses.
Yes.
It was nothing more to it than this simple
I mean, it was the choice at the moment, and we love what people are doing with the new headers and stuff. That looks very cool.
Yeah, well, we're going to ban a couple things. That's what we're going to
talk. We're going to talk about something. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're banning anybody who uses Foamer. And what was the one that used?
See, I don't have any problem. I mean, they put me down as crap
jerk off or something.
No, that would be banned. No, there's not podcast jerk off. Longtime podcast personality, which I'm okay with.
It's a little lengthy.
But,
oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
I think you're a little tired of being called a foamer, even though you brought the whole topic up yourself.
Yes.
So a ban is
irony. By the way,
ban is in place. Apparently, a ban.
Yes, you cannot use Foamer on your artwork if you want it to be picked.
NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. Thank you very much, Mike Riley. It's highly appreciated. We love all the art that comes in, and you can take a look at all of it. It's very useful for all kinds of fun things and projects. There's over 12,000 pieces of album art. 12,000 pieces of album art in this archive.
And there's probably at least 1,000 outstanding pieces.
Yes. Oh, more than that. We've had 1,070 episodes, so there's more than 1,000 outstanding pieces. There's more. There's the ones that didn't quite make the cut. No, it's a fantastic archive. I hope there's a backup of it.
Yes, I've been trying to get our guy to do a backup.
I always get very worried about stuff like this.
Maybe I get wet. I lost my copy of Web Copier Pro.
But we need to have art. John, our producers need to do this. We're not good at this.
Yeah, somebody can do. Well, we can do it, but we can't do it.
No, we'll do it, and then it'll be on a drive. Don't know where the drive is. No, it's a nightmare.
It's lost.
It's a nightmare.
I know I made a copy somewhere.
This is not what we do. I'm just being honest.
I have stacks of hard disks that I have to go through once in a while. Literally. I have a stack of hard disks. So when I put a machine out of service, I've been doing this long enough, over 30 years at PC Magazine, I have a stack of hard disks because I take the old hard disks and I have a thing you can take the hard disk and plug it into this device and it'll think it's like a real drive, and it is. And you can look at your old hard disks and it's like, you can't go through all this crap. I should just drill them all.
By the way, I did want to mention that I didn't realize it, but Christina and her girlfriend and their roommate had not seen They Live yet. Oh, yeah. But boy, did they love it.
Oh, yeah.
They loved it. Yeah, they loved it.
It's corny, but great.
So NoAgendaArtGenerator.com, again, it's a great resource. And also you can go to NoAgendaShop.com. Those guys put it on T-shirts, make sure the artists get paid. I mean, it's a beautiful ecosystem. It's a part of our value network, Value for Value. And this is the donation portion of it, the first one for each show, where we thank our executive producers and associate executive producers.
I have to say something about They Live. Because it's a movie that once in a while you think about these things. The way the They Live concept works is that the reason you can't see the signage and all the brainwashing and these ugly people that are roaming around, and there's lots of ugly people roaming around, is because of this transmitter, which is actually symbolic of the media.
That John Carpenter, always thinking in metaphors.
That transmitter is a transmitter that's transmitting these waves to make you not see these horrible looking people and the brainwashing. And that transmitter is the mainstream media. It's a transmitter.
That's right.
Anyway, so that's what that's all about.
And we are your vision. We are the glasses.
We're those sunglasses.
That's right. You put them on twice a week. They work on Thursdays.
Yeah.
It's going to get old, I know. You're going to get tired of me
it's already old.
Okay, I'll stop.
You can move along. All right, so we do have a few people to thank, and I want to incorporate a couple of people that were at the Oakland meetup, which was a great little event. It was very unusual.
How many people showed up?
Sorry?
How many people attended?
53.
Oh, nice number. That's a pretty big meetup. That's not a small little ditty.
I left it. Unfortunately, I was getting a sore neck. And
Wait a minute. You bailed?
I bailed at 7:30. It was going to go to 8, so I left a little early.
Oh.
And I missed Defabaugh, who showed up late.
Oh.
And the blind dame, which was and her husband. Which I felt really bad about. Luckily, Mimi took, them
Mimi pretended to be you.
Made sure to introduce them to Mimi will never leave.
Mimi pretended to be you, and she didn't know the difference? Is that what you're telling me about the blind dame?
They knew the difference. They were very disappointed. I had to make it up to them somehow.
Yes, you should. It's horrible.
And then I was kind of disappointed that some of our regulars from the area weren't there. Dame Tanya could have been there. Bean. Sir Bean,
Alan Bean,
never shows up to anything. Okay. Anyway, so we have two executive producers that came out of this group, including, of course, Sir J.D., the Baron of Silicon Valley, was there with
nice
$300 and something to match anybody's $100 donations.
Wow, great.
Yeah, he just gave the whole money. I mean, he only matched a couple, but he actually ended up collecting $533, and we'll credit him with the $333. And then the other, and he'll be executive producer. And so also Luke and Beatrice Hatcher from Oakland came in with $333.33 and a check, and with a note too. Now this is what I want to talk about the meetup. This was the most disorganized, not in terms of the meetup actually happening, but in terms of the people that showed up at the meetup.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if they showed up and then they said, I don't know, is Dvorak's there? Well, we didn't bring the envelope with the money and a note, so let's go to the ATM. This is according to Jay.
Wait a minute. They showed
everybody went to the ATM and they came out.
Wait, you're like a hooker in Vegas. You're like a hooker in Vegas. You're like a hooker in Vegas. Like, you can always go to the ATM, darling.
Yeah, they go to the ATM. So they all donated $60, and according to Jay, it's like, yeah, they went to the ATM, took 100 out, kept 40, put 60 in it. It wasn't half the time. It even wasn't an envelope. It was like a piece of paper made to look like an envelope with some scratching writing on the outside.
And let's be honest, this style.
Here's the note. This was a check.
Style points count.
It was very funny, but Luke and Beatrice, they came with a check, which one of them had, I think. And then there's this piece of torn paper. It's like torn. Hey, John, long time.
What an outrage!
Well, I mean, it's just one of the notes was on the back of this guy. I'm not going to embarrass him by saying it.
Back of
it was
receipt.
on the back of his wife's shit to get some free cafeteria meal. Has his wife's name on the back, and he's like scribbled something on it. This was so last minute, classic Silicon Valley area.
I love it.
Let's do this at the last second. Of course, I'm reflective of that too.
Yeah, of course.
Long time, first time. Says
please clarify. You said chit, not shit, right? Chit.
Chit.
Yeah, CHIT.
Everyone knows what a chit is.
No, not everybody knows. This is an international program.
Look it up. Thanks for all the work you guys do to keep us informed and entertained. Love and light. No, nothing else. There's no jingles. You could have thrown a jingle in. So let's give both the JD and these folks. JD also had he had his money in his envelope it was a Betty Fong, it was a state envelope that was torn open, and he stuffed the stuff in there. Then he had some notes scribbled all over it. It was unreadable.
It's an outrage. Here's some karma. Thank you.
You've got karma.
Oh man.
But he may be organizing what he's calling a peerage dinner. Which is an interesting idea. We'll talk about that more in the future. And I also want to mention one of the other nights that I think it was a night. He came up with two great ideas. One, he's getting a lot of little stickers made, but he's getting it turns out that most homeless people living in tents will let you stencil a message on their tent.
Whoa!
Give them money.
Advertising opportunity.
He says it's the advertising opportunity of the century, and he's getting the No Agenda stencil made. And he's going to go from homeless encampment to homeless encampment and dole out some cash and stencil a No Agenda show on these tents.
This is big, John. This is big money. This is big money. Hey, so hold on a second.
We're going to get some publicity for this at some point.
What we need? Do we want noagendashow.com, or do we want to have one of our crazy URLs that forwards the No Agenda Show?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because otherwise
it's in its formative stages. Okay. Let's let it develop.
Our podcast is advertising on homeless people's tents. We now go to John C. Dvorak on the scene. John, what are you learning down there?
There's a bunch of homeless people in all these tents. I've got this stencil on them, and I've got a couple homeless. The guy left. Well, anyway, he told me before he left that these guys came along with $10, and they would spray on their tent. They said no problem, and they ended up spraying on everybody's tents.
This podcast has an innovative idea for helping people out of poverty. It's called the No Agenda Show. No Agenda, done by former VJ and former PC Magazine writer John C. Dvorak. John C. Dvorak was just recently fired from his job at PC Magazine, which he notes was before the lucrative tent action.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So anyway,
I love that. It's a great idea. I'm all for it.
Great idea. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Hey, we paid him, man.
9 out of 10 homeless people prefer the No Agenda podcast. We're sick bastards. Sick, I tell you. That is one of the better ideas.
Yeah. It's one of the best ideas I've heard recently.
If can we tie it into blockchain somehow and do a cryptocurrency with these people?
Blockchain stenciling.
Do a crypto with these people and help them out of poverty.
Yeah, as we laugh at the plight of the homeless. Very good.
Yeah.
Very classy.
No, we're horrible.
No, we are. It's terrible. But hey, $10 is $10,
right?
Yeah,
I'm all in. All right, and what else from the meetup?
Well, there wasn't much else.
Well, you thank some other people later.
Bryony showed up.
Oh, how's Jen doing?
She was in Dimension B, and she's kind of snapped out of it for a while.
Yeah.
She's doing fine. And
does she still like me, or
I introduced her to Mimi immediately? And the two of them hit it off.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
they're both tall.
Oh, she's going to be living up there before you know it.
Well, there's an element of this. I don't know if I can even discuss it.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I'll discuss in the future.
Oh, come on.
Well, Bryony apparently thinks that, or likes the idea, and I think she might have the chops, because I tried to explain why I was like helping Bryony to mentoring her in her model.
Because she's got talent. That's why.
She's a natural.
Yeah.
She's a natural podcaster. She's got a good voice. She knows how to use her voice.
Yeah, she's talented.
She wants to try doing some stand-up.
Oh, interesting. I bet she should do it too.
So Mimi, of course, produces comedy.
Mimi's all
she knows everybody in the business.
Huh.
And
she already has a date at Giggles, or what is it called?
Giggles and Yuck Yucks.
She's got a gig.
So Mimi can coach her a little bit, mentor her in the stand-up business enough so that she could actually do some and practice, see if she likes it. And I said, hey, good. She's yours now. So
handoff. Oh, very good. Very good. Does she still like me, or is she pissed about our Twitter back and forth?
According to Mimi,
yeah,
and Jay, I guess, who was listening on some of this, she was grousing about you.
Yeah, I knew it. Damn it.
Yeah,
but I'm only saying to help her.
She's just grousing. You're harsh on her. You're harsh on her.
Tough love, baby. It's tough love. Tough love. I don't say it because I have lots of other things I can do in my world.
So we're going to do more of these meetups here and there.
I thought you were going to say we're going to do more of this mentoring. Yeah, we're going to do more of this mentoring. We wind up hating me. You wind up hating me and doing stand-up. Welcome to podcasting.
Hey, worked out for me.
Right.
So anyway, but we should do more of these. I'm going to do another one in Seattle. I'm going to do another one in Los Angeles.
You're just cranking them out. We got to get our Austin meetup done now. Damn it.
Yeah, we should do at least. We should do one a month, but we can't. We'll do one every couple of months, maybe. All right, so let's go on.
Okay, it sounded like you had a good time, and I'm very happy, and I'm glad people showed up.
We didn't like the place, the Drake's place. Surly waitresses, and they didn't like the fact that we had so many people just crowding around. It's huge place, but they wouldn't give us the kind of tables we wanted. It was a bunch of
this seems to be a bit of a thing. They don't, these places. Don't want to, give you an area because, we can make more money the other way around. Stuff like that.
It's very dickish.
Dickish, yeah. That's the word, dickish. Well, I want to thank everybody who came to the meetup. That's fantastic. It sounds like you had a good time.
Yes, you and Curry. Okay, a couple more items. Are you and Curry ever going to, do a meetup together?
No.
I said no, probably not.
No,
I mean,
probably not. We don't actually like each other.
We don't. We hate each other.
We're not really.
Well, the other one is I have a great idea.
I'm
not going to mention this guy's name.
Do the show live together during the meetup.
Hello. Exactly. Did I tell you this already?
No. I get that all the time. All the time. Yeah. You have a great idea.
Together live. I finally came
on stage. Well, they want to see you on the chaise and me with my Tourette's. Yeah, we're a great show.
So I told the guy, I said, here's the problem. I had to kind of discuss this with this guy because he was adamant.
Mm-hmm.
I said, here's the problem. It involves an audience. And both of us have a performance gene.
Yeah.
And so we start playing to the audiences, me especially. I won't even be talking about these items that we try to discuss on the show. I'll be doing jokes and making funny comments, see if I can get a rise out of the audience. It would be a disastrous show.
Yes.
It would totally suck.
And I'd be really conscious of my tics and stuff.
You'd be all nervous about your tick.
The tick. No, ticks. Plural. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're jerking around. Spitting. Unbelievable. Okay, let's start with thanking some people. They were done. I think I covered it.
All right.
But anyway, thanks for everyone who did show up.
Yeah, it was great.
Where's Alan Bean? That's what I'd like to know. Brian Barrow, 34567. Sir Brian? I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I think so.
I'm really sorry to hear about your PC Mag parting ways. situation. Take this donation as a sign you still have the support of the No Agenda audience. Without meaning to be funny, please give yourself some jobs karma.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. What kind of jobs karma would you prefer? We have the Nancy and Trump. We got the Trump, and we got the just Nancy.
Oh no, don't give me the Trump.
Yes, what? The Nancy
regular
job.
Nancy.
Regular Nancy.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Henceforth,
got karma.
Henceforth to be known as a regular Nancy.
Yes,
what do you want?
Give me the regular Nancy.
I want a regular Nancy.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Yeah.
Steve Fisher, 33333. R.I.P. PC Mag. I bet they don't last another year.
Sure.
I remember when PC had spawned out of Popular Electronics.
Oh, is that true?
Well, it kind of was true. PC Magazine was actually started by David Bennell, and then it was bought by a guy named Tony Gold. And Bill Ziff bought the company out from under
right.
Bennell, and Bennell started PC World, pissed off, which was an opera. And Ziff did have Popular Electronics, which they folded because this is the reason. Very few people know this, but Popular Electronics folded because the circulation was too high.
Wait a minute. Come back at me with that. Let me check the bong for a second. It folded because the circulation was too high.
Yeah, it's too high and growing.
Were they losing money on every edition? Not
that anyone can tell, but Ziff has this very unique theory of and he is the specialist in this. And likely I got to sit and chat with him a lot about special interest publishing, and I got a lot of insight that I still discuss occasionally. But the way he always saw special interest publishing, it was really has to be super targeted, and you could get you created a world,
right?
And so PC Magazine was a world into itself, and that's why all advertising had to be about the stuff that you talked about in the magazine. You could not have an ad from Ford, for example, or anything. And apparently, this Popular Electronics was getting so big that it was losing the focus on a small enough group that you could sell to the advertisers.
Right.
It was all about creating an audience for the advertisers.
And they were branching out too much.
That audience was not being defined specifically enough, and he decided to hell with it. Boom.
All right.
Bing-a-bong-a-bong. Anyway, he goes on. Book report. Thomas Sowell's Black Rednecks and White Liberals, 2005. He explains the race problem in a way that you will never hear anywhere else. Remember, he's a successful black man. His other books are highly recommended too. He's a very interesting guy. Yes, he's at the Hoover Institute.
Have you read this book?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's on the list then. I'll read it.
Very good. He's a very easy to read writer. He's a very good writer. Sir, American Carnage. He's also, you never see him interviewed or anything because he's a black conservative. Sir American Carnage, 33333. AKA Sir American Carnage. When I saw on Twitter that John had been unceremoniously fired from PC Mag, I had to donate since it has been a little while since my last contribution. Firstly, the show has been excellent lately. You two provide incredible information and analysis value. Second, I'm always listening through the archives between current shows. Recently, I came across a complete gem. When James Comey was first clipped and analyzed on the show, episode 656, Adam referred to him as a nut job, which is the exact term Trump used after firing him.
Coincidence? Read the book.
This further confirms the longtime suspicion that Adam is from the future. I have attached the clip in question. Thank you both for your courage.
Very strange. He I guess he was forced to do. He's coming into his own now. And now he's now it's a couple months. He's been in his department, and this guy is a nut job operator, and he is a frightening individual.
I can't even remember me saying that.
I don't remember it either.
And you know why? Because of the alcohol. There's no long-term memory.
Yeah, maybe.
Good catch. Well, you know what? Thank you, because it is sometimes astounding what we've discussed on the program.
Yeah, it's pretty.
There was a book that came out, and I'm going to discuss it soon about how the we coddled our American children into the morons that they are. And I went to search.na show notes. Sure enough, it was the same guys, an Atlantic article from 6 years ago. I mean, it's crazy what we discuss on this show.
I'm not going to argue. It's almost like we're being guided from cosmic sources.
Yes, from the number 3, 6, and 9. Yeah.
8 should be in there somewhere too. All right, now we have one. I'm just looking it up to see if there's a note from him because there's no note on this. Jonathan Wall, August 29th. Is that right?
What?
No, that's 2014. Never mind.
Are you looking through Squirrel Mail?
We have a donation from Norman Walls from Kailua Kona, Hawaii, 333. Unless that was from the last show. I'm not sure.
No, I don't remember this one.
Okay. Well, anyway, if he has something to tell us, he'll let us know.
Right.
Mark Jasper, $300. I have never been fired by a front hole.
Man.
That's a commentary there for you.
Thank you for your courage, Mark Jasper.
Yeah.
Darn.
Jeez. Onward to the associate executive producers. Sir Chad Biederman, the Baron of Guam, $250. Bless me, John and Adam. It's been 1 year since my last donation. I've been working on bringing down my credit card debt and had planned on mailing a check in the next few months. However, the news of JCD's departure from PC Mag drove me to act early. John is one of the few voices in the world of so-called tech punditry that actually moves past the gee whiz sophistry of great innovations that aren't great, revolutionary, useful, or benign.
Let me stop you right there for a second. I have learned, and as I'm sure you have as well, we were talking about some great tech on the previous show, the new Apple Watch, which some people found a very humorous analysis. But the term complication, a complication on a watch face, comes from the traditional watchmaking world. Neither of us knew this because we're not fancy watches. But back in the old days, if there was more than just a watch with hands, like a moon or date or anything else besides just the time, is known as a complication.
Well, thanks.
And that's why Apple uses that. A great opportunity to rebrand, but okay. It's good enough, I guess.
I'm sure the Baron of Guam appreciates that interruption.
I'm sorry.
I'm tired of people telling me how, but it's a good piece of information, I think. Now I know. And why would Apple use that term?
See, the Baron of Guam is growing old.
I mean, come on.
I know.
I'm tired of because I think it confuses people. I'm tired. Go back. Baron is back. Chad, here we go. I'm tired of people telling me how great a networked voice-activated microwave oven is when it only takes 2 to 3 minutes to make a bag of popcorn in the damn thing.
That's Amazon. Didn't they just release a new microwave with Alexa in it?
It's dumb.
And did you see it? I haven't seen it.
Who wants it?
I think that's peak.
Put your cat
peak
in
Alexa.
The microwave
immediately. It's peak Alexa right there.
You still have to get out of your chair to take the bag of popcorn in and out of the microwave, you nitwits. What's the benefit? Pretending you're on Star Trek? Who thinks crap like this has any utility at all?
See, we've
now
sparked
Chad can be writing some columns
here. Yeah, yes, indeed. This is someone who has been influenced by your magazine.
I think I believe guys like this are always this way. They just need someone to confirm their already existing opinions.
Okay, well that's still
that's
important.
My belief. I think that's what the show does too. People kind of know this is going on, but they need somebody to kind of outline it for them because they got other things to do. They have jobs.
And someone that can always blame later. Well, Dvorak said it.
Yeah, well, that's good, too.
Yeah.
As you no doubt have noticed, I really appreciated John's pieces in PC Mag because they seem to be the only place where common sense would kick in with regard to Silicon Valley inventions and personalities. Luckily, we still have such insight at the No Agenda show, but only if my fellow listeners donate. Belated congratulations to Adam and Tina on their upcoming nuptials. She sounded like a keeper to me for the first time Adam mentioned her.
No, she is. Total keeper.
Jingle request. Star Wars from L. Sharpton. I don't know why, but that cracks me up every single time. Chad, Baron of Guam, we can give him some karma, too. He's a good guy.
Star Wars. Everyone's going nuts about it.
You've got karma.
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but it is.
There's no reason for it to be funny.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
Scott Floyd in Clayton, California, $200.30. I wanted to donate $200 to finally become a knight and help the slacks. 30 cents on the back to tie it to the many years of Dvorak has been sharing his insights in PC Mag with many other sources. I'm hoping to be Sir Scott of Diablo. Can you de-douche me?
You've been de-douched.
Can you play the Obama mariachi no, and resist me much? Thank you both. And sorry about PC Mag, John. Unbelievable note they sent. See you the next Bay Area meetup. I was watching my kids Friday and letting my wife have the weekend off, so I couldn't make it yesterday.
Okay, you know what? No. Hey.
But resist we much. We must and we will much about that be committed.
You've got karma.
Gerald Parker is our last associate executive producer from Durham, North Carolina, $200. And he says it's his birthday. Hope I get this in on time. I'm on vacation in New Orleans having my Rent Boys and Chardonnay. Here's the money. There's plenty of it down there. Here's the money I will, although you can get some muscadine wine down in Louisiana, too.
I thought there's plenty of Rent Boys down there. I didn't know you were talking about the Chardonnay.
Rent Boys. They're available. Here's the money I would have spent on one. I'm taking one for the team today. Yeah.
Is that all it costs, huh? Rent Boys are $200. Is that the market? Is that the going market now?
Gerald might or might not know it's from Durham nearby.
Oh.
Now, I want to talk a little bit when we get out of this segment about North Carolina and the storm, because there's something that no one has covered. I don't know why. Maybe Gerald can send us a note later about it.
Okay.
And that concludes it. Those are our producers, associate producers, and executive producers for show 1071. I want to thank each and every one of them for supporting this operation.
Yeah, this operation thanks you. And we'll be thanking more people in the second donation segment for people who came in with $50 and above. And as always, another show is coming up this time for reals on Thursday. I look forward to it, as does my partner in crime, John C. Dvorak. You can support us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
And there's more deconstruction to come. You can go out there and do with it as we always do.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. New World Order.
So you're going to do that. I just wanted to mention I have this. Let me see. I finally got one. Where is it here?
Before you go to that, I do want to mention there was one more associate executive producer at the meetup.
Oh.
Came in. It was like another scrunched envelope, $200 inside.
Another last minute job.
NJNK Anonymous.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who it was.
Yeah, I got a boing. It's kind of a weird one.
You got your boing.
I got a boing.
You got your boing.
I got my boing. Got my boing, man. All right. You were going to talk about North Carolina.
Oh, yes. North Carolina.
Jeez. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Now, there's been coverage and coverage. There's been a couple of stories about this, but if you remember a number of years back, and this has been going on, it's still an ongoing problem. North Carolina is one of the biggest producers of pork in this country. And I would say you might have an investment opportunity because a lot of it gets exported to China. But there were tons of stories, 60 Minutes and the Nightlines, all these things about the huge piles of pork or pig crap all over the place. And it was like stinking up. Whole counties of North Carolina stink because of the pig crap that was everywhere, and all these pig
poop
shitting all over everywhere. And apparently 1 million or more pigs were killed by this storm, these floods and these storms. What happened to all the pig poop? Does anybody write a story about it? It has to, the whole state has to be inundated with pig poop. It's like a sewage mess, and no one has discussed this.
You know, now I know that everything went from North Carolina to South Carolina, but where
poop there too?
Yeah, but where does it ultimately flow? I mean, this stuff is managed. I mean, but Tina was telling me that she looked at Lady Bird Lake, which is really part of the Colorado River, which is managed by the Lower Colorado River Water Authority. It's all connected, and she said there was sludge coming through the other day. I mean, you got to wonder where. You're right. Where does it go? Who takes care of it? Where does it just roll off down to?
How come nobody's writing about it? Are these? Was that picture of
because
Cooper sitting in, standing in the water? Was he actually standing in pig poop?
I don't know.
I think he was.
It must have been. Do you have a clip?
Don't have a clip. I mean, it'd be an outtake. It'd be him going, "Boy, it stinks here for some. What does this stink? What is this smell?"
Well,
I just think it's very poor reporting.
Well, zero reporting.
Anyway, it just bothers me.
And I really realize how poor the reporting is when you're over in Europe, and even certainly from our side as well. We're not getting enough information and cool tidbits from our producers. I mean, you look at did you know about the big Brexit breakup? They were all in Austria, and the EU said, screw you, Theresa May. We're not taking your deal. And then she went back, and they're all yelling back and forth, and apparently it's all about Northern Ireland. I mean, we don't know any of this in United States of Gitmo Nation. None of it. Did you see it on Democracy Now? Did you see it on PBS NewsHour? No. These are not unimportant events.
No, that's because it's got nothing to do with Trump.
Although it did remind me that Trump had told her, look, you got to approach the negotiations this way. And he said, no, she didn't want to take my advice, so she'll do her own thing. It's going to be very tough. And it looks like she went into a negotiation and didn't do it right. And it's the EU guys who are all sitting there all high and mighty, and they're going to show them big swinging dicks. Like, we're the EU. We're not going to take your damn deal. Do a no-deal Brexit. And I think there is a real conversation, but it's about Northern Ireland, and it's called the backstop, which means if they're not able to get a deal by 2020, then Northern Ireland would remain under the economic control of the European Union and not under the United Kingdom. Now, I'm not sure why Northern Ireland itself is so important. I mean, it's industrial. Is that where all the Google? No, they have it in Ireland, not in Northern Ireland, right? The Apple and Google.
I don't know. We'd have to look into it, but nobody seems to be.
I tried to look around a little bit, and I really couldn't find like a specific reason.
Well, somebody came up with this thesis that if you could do a no deal Brexit and then base everything on WTO rules, which are really more of a meta that would screw the EU over.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to trade. If you're in the WTO, which they are, both of them, both groups, you can't do any of this kind of stuff you want to do. You have to follow the rules of the WTO. And you've already signed on to the WTO. We've done it. Well, a lot of our laws in the United States are null and void because of the signing on to the WTO. And for some reason, they take precedent, which screws over a lot of small businesses in particular.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they should do. Just say, okay, we just do WTO rules. That's it. We're just going by that stuff.
Well, so this, of course, is once again raised the talk of another vote, a do-over on the Brexit vote. It's a lot more of that. And who knows what's going to happen? I just think the EU is just going to sit there. They're not going to give them a deal. All right, go ahead and figure it out, Theresa May.
No, I don't think they're going to give them a deal either.
No. But then you've got to doubt the Brexit at all. Is it a Brexit if it didn't happen?
Falls in the woods.
Yeah. It's all just imaginary anyway. So we have a piece of paper somewhere and we do some stuff. Let me see, what else do I have here? There's a number of different directions we can go. There is an important bill that is coming up for vote very soon now, which is not getting a lot of coverage. I think it's interesting. This is a federal bill.
Mr. President, the Agriculture Committee has put together an excellent piece of legislation. For the first time in 80 years, this bill legalizes hemp. We forget, but hemp was widely grown in the United States throughout the mid-1800s. Americans used hemp in fabrics, wine, and paper. Our government treated industrial hemp like any other farm commodity until the early 20th century, when a 1937 law defined it as a narcotic drug, dramatically limiting its growth. This became even worse in 1970 when hemp became a Schedule I controlled substance. In Colorado, as is true across the country, I've talked to a lot of colleagues here about this, we see hemp as a great opportunity to diversify our farms and manufacture high-margin products for the American people.
Yeah, baby. Good products. Now, apparently, this is the farm bill. And
let's mention something here.
Sure.
Industrial hemp is not the same as marijuana plants.
That's correct. However, an important part of this farm bill is the extract rule for CBD. That will be legalized. That's a part of it. So you can create marijuana hemp advertising, whatever you want to call it, where you can extract CBD for some groovy products.
Yeah, anticonvulsants mostly.
Well, there's lots of stuff.
Anyway,
so
yes, this needs to go through.
Oh, and I think it will. And of course, this is this could be a pretty big little economic sector. And we're good at. We're farmers. We could be very, very good at this. They're talking about CBD portion of it alone. Well, no, legalization of hemp and CBD could grow consumer market to $22 billion. That's not bad. It's a nice little cottage industry.
And I will say this: the hemp is very useful. We're talking again, not marijuana, not CBD, not THC. The plant has a fibrous content that can be used to make cloth, rope. Almost all ropes were made from hemp.
Cars. Hello, what are you laughing about?
What cars are made from hemp?
Go Bing hemp car. It's right there. Hemp car that also ran on hemp. It's there. And Cheech and Chong. Hello. But yes, anyway, there's a hemp car.
The usefulness of hemp in industry is quite high. Now, the one thing left out of this report is that when it was made illegal, it was made illegal by now people can check this out and call me on it because I'm not looking at the research as we speak. The Hearsts.
Yes, it was the Hearsts.
William Randolph Hearst supposedly had a bunch of tree farms, and hemp could be used to make newsprint. And apparently, early newspapers had a high composition of hemp. I don't have this information in front of me. I've
heard this as well. I've heard that this was the beginning,
heard it, but I'm not sure.
And that's when they started printing stories about Mexicans who were high on the marijuana weed and were freaking out and were coming here to rape our women.
Now that was the Reefer Madness era.
Yeah.
And so they made the whole hemp plant, which is not these industrial hemp plants, which are huge, can be used to make ethanol. I know that.
Yep.
Probably more efficiently than corn. And they can be used to make, paper and all these other products that come from this plant. But supposedly Hearst was behind the abolition movement, or one of the guys, and worked out for him.
Yeah, well, it's going to work out for us because that's another sector that we can enter into and tax the hell out of, which is just like, oh, man, I love this story. What a statistic. This is from CNBC.
New research on teen vaping shows that about 20% of high school students have used e-cigarettes in the last 30 days. The number has soared 75% from a year ago. 75%. Great. That is according to a Wall Street Journal story citing unpublished federal data.
By the way, they're saying this, the whole read here is with, oh, geez, it's horrible. These children are vaping. I mean, is he a doctor? Does he have a medical opinion on this? I mean, he certainly has an agenda. He's like, oh, God, it's so, the children.
FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb is considering a fast-track review process for e-cigarettes that include features that discourage use by kids. The FDA announced a historic crackdown on e-cigs last week, threatening to ban some products like flavored nicotine that appeals more to kids, like cucumber.
I saw peach, I saw mango, cherry.
There is something to be said about the oral.
What?
She sounds hungry.
Well,
goes, oh, mango,
I want to point out that that you create regulations for one reason and one reason only. Right after regulation comes taxation. I mean, this is so obvious, but they're like, oh, save the children or some crap like that from your financial news station, by the way.
Fixation.
Yeah, but if
Freudian.
you're selling, I mean, it's one thing. If you're selling it to try and help smokers kick an addiction, you don't need all these
generating new nicotine addictions. A delivery system to generate new nicotine addictions just doesn't.
And you don't know what it does to their lungs, as FDA commissioners constantly said. Delivery system through the drugs or through the lungs is not a way that he would ever suggest you.
No, through the nose. That's how we should do it.
You get your intake of anything.
You're right, Liesman. I want to outlaw vaping. I'm turning into a big government regulation person. We're switching
that and the tariffs and all that stuff.
I know. It's upside down. Anyway,
become a hardcore, big time government.
Like me and Elizabeth Warren. I am. Anyway,
exactly. Two ends they bend.
They meet. Space time.
Space time continuum. Stephen Hawkins.
Yeah. All right. Companies feared that.
Are they high? What are they talking about? I mean, this is the weirdest segment. It's like they can't make up their mind if it's good or bad, or it's like the tariffs, or do we need this now? And children shouldn't. It's good if you're trying to wean people off smoking. How about a whole new category of drug? I mean, this is another taxable moment here. This is fantastic. Get on board, people.
Mandatory FDA reviews would slow down innovation, but the FDA now says it will help companies get new products to market quickly if they discourage use by kids. Among the possible solutions that has been proposed, making the devices Bluetooth compatible so they can be disabled near schools.
Because that's where the kids are doing all the vaping.
This is fantastic. You get the kids hooked on the vape. And, of course, we're going to legalize the nicotine part because that's the way it works. Now, we've cut out all the young guys like Dexter. Dexter had his own. He still has his vape, his e-liquid company, doing really well. But it's going to get cut out eventually because you'd have to pay $1 million per flavor to get it approved. You get all the kids jacked up on it. They're going to school. You got Bluetooth controlled. So it's like, slave in seat number 5. If you have the answer right, I'll turn on your vape. And they go, thank you, teacher. This is a setup for these children.
So
in the school zones.
Plus, and it's all converging. You marijuana vape, too. That's what people use the oil.
Now you're talking.
Now, is that good or bad? Because it gets rid of, if we're going to legalize marijuana, you might as well try and do it without the tar and the carcinogens.
Lots of ifs.
Lots of ifs. And then the smoke coming out of their ears on this question. Yes, it's all part of it. I mean, that's the beauty of it is you can be vaping, you can be dabbing, and no one will really know. Yeah, exactly.
I'd know.
But 75% increase in vape, and believe me, it's not just kids vaping cucumber nicotine.
All right. Well, thank you for that report.
Little report for you.
Can we go to Beto?
Yeah,
I've been one mention to do.
Beto.
A couple of things about this guy. Now, I don't know. I've heard him talk enough that I think he's trying to sound like Obama. He's kind of doing
yes. And he's even being compared to Obama. We had that in our last report.
Well, it's because he's using Obama's cadence.
Yes.
Now, there's a very short clip. I don't have the whole thing. I had the whole thing. It's boring. So I got just a piece of it. This is him in a black church, and he's using as one of his items is that woman that I don't even know if she wasn't a white girl, but she's the one who went into the black guy's apartment below hers and shot the guy to death.
Yeah, she's white cop. Yeah.
She's white.
I thought she was.
She looks Hispanic to me.
Oh.
It's beside the point. She's a cop, and she went and shot this guy to death. And, this is a sketchy story. Everybody knows. What is this? Maybe it was a jilted lover. We don't know. The story's never been fully realized, so we don't care. But this guy's in a black church getting everybody all riled up. And tell me, just listen to his cadence. He's not trying to be Obama in a black church.
In this very year, in this community, that a young man, African American, in his own apartment,
is shot and killed by a police officer. And when we all want justice and the facts and the information to make an informed decision, what is released to the public? That he had a small amount of marijuana in his kitchen. How can that be just in this country?
Yeah, totally. What was wrong with him?
If we can find that grace, anything is possible.
Yeah.
If we can tap that grace, everything can change.
Yeah, it's taken a little bit from Martin Luther King.
Yes. Yeah, Martin Luther King
narratives.
Yeah. And also,
this guy's playing this.
Also, I saw him, a video of him at the drive-thru, Whataburger drive-thru, which is big in Texas, our Whataburgers. And he was doing air drums in the car. You know, all hip and stuff. There's nothing more pathetic.
He's hip guy.
There's nothing more pathetic than a white guy doing air drums at a Whataburger drive-through. Yeah, man, watch me.
It's like the scene in the couple scenes in Office Space where the guys.
Yeah, it was bad.
Listening to rap.
Very, very, very. Yes, exactly.
It turns sad. Now, so we have the Beto Cruz debate that went on.
Yes.
And I mean, a couple of things that my take on this. For one thing, Cruz has always been kind of a snot-looking guy that I don't think has a lot of personal appeal in terms of his appearance. Beto's worse.
Yeah.
Beto looks like the kind of kid that was in school. You'd want to punch him. Or pull his pants up, or do something. You want to be mean to a guy like this. If you're in high school, I'm talking about in the olden days. Nowadays, no, you can't do anything.
Were you like that? Were you mean to the nerds? Because I was that guy. I was Beto.
You were the nerd?
That was the Beto, yeah.
Yeah, well, you'd have been, somebody would have, tripped you or done something. I tripped him, look at that.
And I had Tourette's.
Oh, yeah, you'd be screwed. So but nowadays you're safe because everybody's all into, the poor kid. Let's treat it. Just make an example out of him without doing anything to him.
Let's just give him a diploma just because he's
so. This is this Beto guy. Beto is the problem that Cruz has is Beto is a lot taller than Cruz and much more stately. Until you actually look at him, he's an Ichabod Crane guy. He's got a bunch of veins in his neck. His neck is like he might be a lizard. It's possible that he's a lizard. I don't know for sure, but he might be, and that's why he's got this. He's got the cadence down, this Obama cadence.
Yeah, lizard talk, lizard tongue.
I got 3 debate clips.
All right.
I got the clip that I picked up early, which is the 2 of them bickering, and then I have 3 others, but. Here's what you have to remember: a couple of things. Cruz was a borderline professional debater. He was a master debater in college. Well-known master debater.
Master debater.
And he should be able to kick anyone's ass in a debate. I think this guy, somebody took him aside and said, hey, you want to beat Cruz here? You want to just point out what he's trying to pull with his discussions. Because he's pulling stunts. Cruz is pulling stunts, and this Beto guy brings up. But in a number of points during the debate, Cruz would shake him up. He would say something to get him all shook up, and he'd be nervous. Mm-hmm. So he's not as good as Cruz in debating, but he's pretty good at doing retorts. Here's the bickering clip.
And we are moving on here.
Sorry?
Yeah, play that clip.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking in between. I'm sorry.
And we are moving on here.
Of course I support the Second Amendment.
In what way, in what respect, and name one judge you've ever supported who would actually
you may not understand how the House and the Senate work, but it's your job in the Senate to decide if you're going to support or not support a given nominee.
Did you endorse Hillary Clinton?
Not in the House.
Did you endorse Hillary Clinton?
That has nothing to do with
it does, because Hillary promised every justice she would appoint would vote to overturn Hillary.
I fully support the Second Amendment.
Time, gentlemen. Let's move on here.
No, yeah.
Now, after that little back and forth, and the guy got a good one in there. If you understood the House and the Senate,
By the way,
he had a good one in
there.
By
the way, hold on. He actually even stutters like Obama when he's shook up.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, good catch. All right, so here we go with the Beto Cruz. Beto's talking about all the blacks in prison. He's trying to appeal to the black vote in Texas. But he's kind of one of those guys. I don't know if the black voter would – I mean, they like to hear him going on, but he's got this really smarmy quality that I don't know if blacks really – I don't think they like Cruz either. I just don't think they're going to come out and vote for either one of them. But let's play – this is the way it would – this is clip one, and this is kind of the way it goes.
That is disproportionately comprised of people of color. Too many unarmed African-American men losing their lives in this country. To peacefully protest that injustice nonviolently and to call attention to that, to prick the conscience of this country so that those in positions of public trust and power will finally do something. Standing up not just for your rights, but everyone's rights in this country. There's nothing more American than that.
That's your time, Congressman. I'm going to have to ask again for the audience to please refrain from reacting and applause, okay? We need to get through a lot of questions here. Mm-hmm. Senator Cruz.
You know, Congressman O'Rourke gave a long soliloquy on the civil rights movement. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons that I'm a Republican is because civil rights legislation was passed with the overwhelming support of Republicans. And indeed, the Dixiecrats who were imposing Jim Crow, the Dixiecrats who were beating those protesters were Democrats. And that's one of the reasons I'm proud to be a member of the Party of Lincoln, a member that stands for equal rights for everyone, regardless of what race, what ethnicity. Every human being is a creation of God that our Constitution protects. But nowhere in his answer did he address the fact that when you have people during the national anthem taking a knee, refusing to stand for the national anthem, that you're disrespecting the millions of veterans, the millions of soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines that risk and fight and die to protect that flag and to protect our liberty. And to be clear, everyone has a right to protest. You have a right to speak. But you could speak in a way that doesn't disrespect the flag, that doesn't disrespect the national anthem. And I'll tell you, those civil rights protesters would be astonished if the protests were manifesting and burning the flag. Dr. King, that's not something Dr. King stood for. He stood Senator for justice Cruz. Without disrespecting the men and women who fight for this country.
All right. I just have to say something about that. I'm so tired of hearing this bull crap. Trump aside, I'll get to him in a second. The kneeling for the flag during the anthem issue is... The problem is not the kneeling and all. The problem is not that the flag is for the men and women who died. No, the problem is it's a militaristic reality television show. And the military pays for their militaristic part of it. It's war games. It's jets flying over. It's a part of the package. It's a entertainment package that you are ruining. And Trump is very street savvy in this regard by framing it as un-American, unpatriotic, and causing a big stir about that, and being able to point to unpatriotic behavior as uncapitalist because you're losing ratings and losing advertising money.
There's all those elements. Putting this aside,
yes,
this thought of yours, which we've discussed a lot.
I just wanted to make sure people remember.
The problem is I have a thing that relates really what
I'm
Cruz
shutting
said.
up. I'm shutting up.
What Cruz did, he went through he did his debate thing, and he went after the guy, and he did this and he did that. Now I'm going to play Beto's retort to what Cruz said specifically, not to the issue at all, because he doesn't address the issue. He addresses – this is why I think Beto's good. Unfortunately, he's easily shooken, but I think he's good at this. What he does is he deconstructs what Cruz does instead of arguing with Cruz, because you can't beat Cruz. He'll just beat you up because he's a kind of a semi-professional.
Do we want to rewind the last? Do we want to read the last 10 seconds of Cruz so we're back in there?
The last 10 seconds and then cut to we'll go to the master debater, and then we'll go to Beto's retort.
I'm sorry for interrupting the flow. I didn't realize that's what you were doing.
The Constitution protects. But nowhere in his answer did he address the fact that when you have people during the national anthem taking a knee, refusing to stand for the national anthem, that you're disrespecting the millions of veterans, the millions of soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines that risk and fight and die to protect that flag and to protect our liberty. And to be clear, Everyone has a right to protest. You have a right to speak. But you could speak in a way that doesn't disrespect the flag, that doesn't disrespect the national anthem. And I'll tell you, those civil rights protesters would be astonished if the protests were manifesting and burning the flag. Dr. King, that's not something Dr. King stood for. He stood for justice without disrespecting the men and women who fight for this country.
Okay, now we go to Beto's retort.
You heard Cruz's answer. First of all, he again tried to mislead you by taking a peaceful protest during the national anthem to burning a flag. No one here, myself included, has suggested that anyone should be doing that. He also grounded his answer in partisanship, talking about the GOP being better than the Democrats. Listen, I could care less about either party at this moment. At this deeply divided, highly polarized time in our history, this moment calls for all of us, regardless of party or any other difference of race or sexual orientation, how many generations you've been here, or whether you just got here yesterday. We need to come together for this country that we love so much.
Yeah, Beto butt slam.
And we're moving on here. The next question for Senator Cruz.
Nice. Beto butt slam.
I thought you handled that perfectly. Instead of addressing any of Cruz's things, he deconstructed it.
Yeah, it was very good.
Very good. Now, overall, though, I would say that Beto is taller. He might be more imposing. He might be.
But he's no master debater.
He's no master debater that we know of. And he's got the lizardy thing going on, which is kind of bothersome. He might be a lizard. Yeah. Now, we can play the Beto Cruz rundown, which I believe is somebody else's analysis of the whole situation.
It was an incredible debate, I have to say. Really worth watching. It's online if you haven't seen it. But I do want to, this is closer than expected, this race. Yes. They really thought Ted Cruz wouldn't have any competition. What were your main takeaways from the debate?
I would have three takeaways. First and foremost, from a technical standpoint, Senator Cruz has debated countless times. He was even a debater back in his college days, and I think that really showed last night from a technical standpoint. But the second point is just what a cultural, political moment. I mean, anyone who watched that debate, that is the most perfect illustration of where we're at in our political climate in 2018 that I've ever seen. On the issue of the Second Amendment, I think that this is definitely going to be a clear battle line in the state of Texas, and Senator Cruz and his campaign clearly feel that they have the upper hand on that. But the third point that I would make is the one that you just made, and that is that these polls are tightening, and Congressman O'Rourke has really made this interesting and really made this close. And I think it was interesting to hear him talk about the issue of immigration through an economic lens. That's something that many Democrats in other parts of the country haven't done. But Congressman O'Rourke sought to really make the case that the president's immigration policies aren't just, he made less of a personal appeal and more of an economic policy pitch. And I thought that was interesting given the demographics of the state and the geographic location.
Now, with that in mind, I do have to play an offbeat clip. This is not talking about, Beto didn't go on with, they're separating the moms from the kids and all this thing. That, which is apparently such a big issue that it even shows up in Ireland. And I have a Nigel Farage clip.
Okay.
Where he's on his LBC show and his radio show, and he's got this hysteric Irish woman who's going on and on about this situation with the immigrants, which really began, as you pointed out, with a judicial, an edict in the 90s that required the separation of the parents from the children at the border for some particular reasons. That it's been going on throughout the entire Obama administration, but everyone makes a scene about it. So it's all Trump's fault. But listen to this is the problem that the Democrats have is the hysteria. This is Nigel versus the hysteric Irish woman.
And Donald Trump, he's a dirty rat putting those little children in cages. What kind of human being does that? Someone related to Hitler does that.
May, what he's doing is sending a message, don't try to come to America illegally. And it does look extremely tough, I agree with you. But May...
They're dudes, but don't do that to little children. God forgive him. That is a terrible, terrible thing he's doing, ripping children from their mothers and putting them in cages. What kind of... what kind of people do that?
Well, the alternative, May, is to do what... May, the alternative is to do what Mrs. May, to do what Mrs. Merkel has done, and to say anyone can come that wants to come. I mean, do you see this is the great issue, May, that is dividing politics right across the West? It's how we deal with our borders. It's how we deal with refugee seekers. It's how we deal with illegal immigration. And his message...
Nigel, you don't treat people like that. For God's sake, you don't treat people like that.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Yeah, that was sad in so many ways. I mean, this woman believes the reporting and thinks that Donald Trump personally is ripping children away from their mothers.
He's standing there doing it
jamming them into a cage. Oh, my goodness. Well, all right, then I had a Beto clip, but forget that. I'm going to play my clip from a black woman in Pasadena at a city council meeting who is very happy with ICE and what they are doing, and her plight is just it's something that you don't hear. Well, I didn't get off of mainstream media. You won't see it on television.
I was born in Los Angeles, California, born to a dad who worked at Continental Airlines, a mom who was a housekeeper. My family background is that I'm descendants of slaves. We've been here since the 1850s, and I can trace it back to that. We did our family tree. Prior to that, we don't know. We know that we originated from Africa, but we've never been there. Okay, that's the first thing. The other thing I want you to know is that I grew up in Pasadena area, and many of my best friends were Latino. Okay, there's a huge population, but they were Chicanos, and they loved blacks. There was no problem. The reason I say this to you, and the reason why it's so important right now, is because I left to go to Texas and came back and was being harassed by illegal immigrants, not Chicanos, Mexicans. They were following me. They were looking at me like, what are you doing in Pasadena? That's how much that border had opened up. What I want to say to you is that we have been forgotten, blacks and Africans, African Americans. And the reason why I can tell you that is because I called the EEOC. There was a paragraph for Latinos. There was a paragraph for Asians. Nothing for blacks. And I just about hit the roof. What I want to say is everyone has a right to be here. You do, but you need to come legally.
Hey, can you actually hear this? Because it seems a little hard to hear from me at the moment.
It's barely audible.
Okay, that's what I was.
But it's good enough. I mean, I can hear that she's irked about the fact. I'm hearing this message from more than one person. She's like one of many blacks saying, "Hey, what about us?" And
this EEOC,
hey, Democrats, you haven't done anything for us. You're not even trying to do something for us. You're making it worse.
Yeah, and the EEOC thing is also, I didn't realize that African Americans no longer are part of the equal opportunity movement in California. I
didn't know that either.
Yeah. Well, the clip is in the show notes. I think people should go and listen to it there, because we have to move on with more things.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, oh, No Agenda in the morning.
Yeah, moving right along. So let's go over. I'm going to do the first. I'm going to start off with the separate listing or mention of the people at the Oakland meetup that gave $100 or $50 or more, which is a lot of people, especially the $60 from the ATM. I want to appreciate that. It's great. Brian Mickey in San Francisco, $100, who had it doubled. Eri Kaiuragi, I think, had 100, and so did Brian Mickey, which is, I'm sorry, I mentioned him a minute ago. And Argentinian guy that was there, 50.
Nice.
James Lesko from Alameda, 5280. And with a note from, he says we should reinstitute the Mile High Club, and that's why he gave 5280.
I've forgotten about that. Yeah. 5,280 feet. Yeah.
And then I'm going through this at the table, and then Jay is sitting there. She says, we should rethink this Mile High Club. And she says, yeah, be really douchey on the show. She doesn't like the idea. She's actually a listener.
I love that. I love that she listens. That's so cool.
Yeah, and she thinks it's douchey.
Pluto and Scorpio, baby.
Cordelia Mellor needs a de-douching.
No, we can do that.
You've been de-douched.
Aiki Katagawa, 60. Sir, no jingles, none of that, yeah. Sandy Block, 60. She has sent a cute little note. Edward Halsey in Oakland, 150. Eden Anderson. Oh, Edward and Eden. Stuart Long in Lafayette, 5550. Nick Goes West, 80. Luke and Beatrice Hatcher. We put them in the beginning, sorry. Justin Kane, 50. Anonymous, 60. Jason, no name, 60. And got a few things. Please accept this donation by faithful listener. Nick Goes West. Here's a little note. A card from Sandy. Thank you for the work you guys do. And then I got this note from, I guess it's from Terra Avion subscription service from Stuart Long. He says, thank you for your courage. Travel karma for Robert Conti, who is propagating the formula in Brazil.
Okay.
We'll put that at the end
for sure.
Yeah. I think Stuart contributed something too. I don't know what. Anyway, Defaball showed up late, and I missed him. And I think that summarizes that group. I think I got most of them.
Thank you, group. Do we have any more meetups planned? Let me look at the notes here. I don't have anything. No, I don't have anything on the list.
But the locals are going to do their own thing. Good. So they'll be local number 2, I think, by the time that they get it together.
Yeah, they got enough people.
Robert Hausner in Marmora, Ontario, 125.47. Patrick Melly, these are people that are contributed to the show, 1071. Patrick Maley in Bountiful, Utah, 12345.
It's contribution to John's severance package.
Yeah, that turns out to be the severance package. Caleb Kniffen, $110. Pete Federici, $110.
Needs a jobs karma for him and his partner. We got that coming up.
Stefano Sartoria Alta, Baronet of the Glen Ellen and Slanoma, 10101. Ian Field, 100. Matthew Anderson from West Roxbury, Massachusetts, 100. Sir John Knowles, the Baron of Murfreesboro, 99.99. David Fugazotto, 81.
Sir Wait. Stop at Fugazotto for a second, because you made a call for a donation amount for PC Mag. So he took the F, the U, the C, and the K, and the PC, and the MAG, and he did 6 plus 21 plus 3 plus 11 plus 16 plus 3 plus 13 plus 1 plus 7 is 81.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I had another guy they said it should be 86, 32, because you got 86th.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good too. Well, maybe the Fugazotto one works. He's Sir Fugazotto, as far as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Craig Porter in Council Bluffs. Here's a boob donation for you, John. Best of luck. 8008. Sir Marcellus, 8008.
Boob.
Tim Kiesel, 80.
A boob.
This is I'm not going to
read that.
Forget it. No.
No.
Not happening. Nice try.
Good work, Tim.
Sir Brian Kaufman, Scottsdale, Arizona, 7575. Daniel Hevner in Noblesville, Indiana, 6130. Anonymous, 58. Sean David.
From Slovenia. Oh, that's cool.
Hey, Slovenia. I love Slovenia. Why is he anonymous? What difference does it make?
All they have to do is track the one IP address that listens to No Agenda from Slovenia, and they gotcha.
Gee, Slovenia. Slovenia is a great place. Great wine growing area. Very nice little capital city. Beautiful.
Capital of
Sean
what?
David Carlson, Fresno, California, 55 double nickels on the dime. Sir Dave Pugh, 5510. Gabriel Olinger in Manchester, New Hampshire, 5510. Sir Stephen, 5510 from Bern, Texas. What is all these 5510s coming from?
I don't know.
He says, I admire this
double nickels on the dime.
Eric Scholes in Dallas, everybody in Texas. I admire JCD's ability to burn bridges.
Keep going.
With the NYC Lib Joes. Fuck them. Will they ever pull their heads out of their collective arse? I doubt it. Who cares? Throw on some rare Rihanna outtakes, slunk a bowl, and just, peace. Texan.
That's right.
He's from Dallas. You might talk like this.
We know how to roll here, baby.
David Alston, 5510. Michael Sigenthaler, 5005. Alexa Delgado, 50. And Aptos, and these are all following our 50 donations. Name and location, if applicable. Dave Bozeman, he goes on about, he says he's never going to read PC Magazine again. That's what,
No, of course not. I'm never reading them again either. Screw those guys.
You don't read them now.
No, I barely read your column.
Yeah, barely. Oh, that might be interesting. I'll try looking at that.
No, only if I caught a tweet. If I caught a tweet, I'd read it.
Zachary Hanslick. Ryan William Bryant, who in Spartanburg, I think he may be a Sir, South Carolina. He has negative comments about PC Mag. Daniel LeBoy in Bath, Michigan. Patrick Maycom, Sir Patrick in New York City. Sir Chris of the Vortex Ring State in Sir Island, Washington.
You don't want to be in a vortex ring with your helicopter.
No, not, but he's there and he's saving the day. He's 50 as our last guy, and that will be our producers for show 1071. I want to thank each and every one of them for helping us out.
Yes, and of course, thank you to everybody who came in under $50, which anonymous. Sometimes someone who lives in Slovenia would want to give their name, but they want to be anonymous anyway, so they'll give under 50.
We had a guy at the meet, Ben Anonymous.
Yeah,
who I know him. I think he gave 50 or 60, but he says he's the guy. Now I think this is wrong. I think this is a mistake. I don't think this is true. He says he's the only dude named Ben.
No, I'm sure we have more.
I think most people named Ben are dudes named Ben.
Yes,
because if your name is Ben, you really don't have a lot of choices in life.
If you're a man.
Yeah,
because that you never know.
Being a guy working on machines, computers.
Yeah. Ben, dude named Ben. So we thank everybody who came in under 50. You're on our layaway programs and our subscriptions to sustaining donations. They are very important. We appreciate it. And thank you very much. And keep the checks coming. We need to make sure we have a good check flow.
In case PayPal pulls the plug like they apparently did
on Alex Jones.
Yeah. I'm looking into it to see why they did that, because we've had nothing but good luck with PayPal. So
they've actually been, except for the Unibyte encoded stuff, everything else have been pretty decent with them, and that is a problem. But
it's not much of a problem.
But, I mean, you've got it's. But they also remember they cut, didn't they? Was it MasterCard or PayPal as well? Then they cut off WikiLeaks. I think it was PayPal, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah.
But that's crazy. What would you do if you're running the company and the government comes in? The CIA guy comes in.
Support InfoWars, free speech, man.
I don't think it was the InfoWars. Well, maybe, but I know that WikiLeaks, it was the government that was going after him, and they probably went from door to door to tell people to
stop,
cut off their funding.
Yeah, but that was also, what's his face, from the $250 million website. Omadar, yeah, Pierre Dramikar Omadar. Yeah, that guy. He was in charge of it then at PayPal back in the day.
I don't know.
Yeah. Now, you can't, on one hand, say the social justice warrior fired me from PC Mag and then not see the obvious connection between Omidyar and PayPal and WikiLeaks.
Well, he's not there now.
No, but he was then.
I'm glad he's not there.
Yeah. I have a very nice note to share. This is from John Overall, and you may remember him. His dad passed away earlier this month, and he's in Scandinavia where he died. And he wanted to see if he could get a color guard since he was a highly decorated naval man. And so I got a very nice note from John. He says, "Hi, Adam. Please read this on the show or whatever you want to. I've got an official word from the U.S. Navy this morning that an official honor guard will be at my dad's funeral to present colors, fold the flag, and play taps. Without no agenda and the help of this community, I am not sure this would have happened. It seems the Navy does indeed provide for out-of-country honors, but they sure don't make it easy to locate the correct office that you need to contact. A big thank you to the No Agenda community is in order. Thank you, Adam, for taking my request and moving it along to Agent Orange. Thanks to Agent Orange for moving it along to his contact, a brigadier general. And thank you to the general who gave me his personal number and a number to call and a person to talk to so I could make this happen. And thank you to the U.S. Navy for sending the team to honor my dad, CW04 Gerald W. Overall, for his service to the United States. You have no idea how much this means to my mom and the rest of the family to have the honors. Karma works. Cheers from John Overall. Hey, we pulled it off. I'm proud of the community.
As expected.
Yeah, it went fast, though. This is very good. I'm very, very pleased. Congratulations to all. Then I did get a night karma request from Sir Bill Hudak. You know, we like to do those things, so we have a number of karmas to hand out, including some jobs karma and travel karma, so here we go.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And here's our list for today. It is the 23rd of September, 2018. Gerald Parker celebrated on the 20th. Buzzkill Jr. celebrated on the 22nd. Definitely one of those Pluto and Scorpio kids. And we also say happy birthday to our very own Sir Bemrose, who manages so much of the back office and makes sure everything runs in the data center. And we say congratulations to him. He turns 41. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. It's your birthday, yeah. So nice for Sir Bemrose.
Buzzkill Jr. in there?
You didn't hear me say it? Yeah, he celebrated yesterday. I said the Pluto from Scorpio kid.
Yeah. I was looking through the
No, the correct answer is you were looking for your blade. Looking for your blade. I was looking
for my blade, and I found it.
Nice. Scott Floyd, step on up to the podium here. Scott, you have supported the best podcast in the universe, the No Agenda Show, in the amount of $1,000 or more. That means you get to join our elusive and exclusive Luke's Roundtable of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. And I hereby am very proud to pronounce the Sir Scott of Diablo. For you, my friend, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay. We've got bourbon and bong ribs, cold brew, coffee and cannabis, Dr. Pepper, and a quick handy rabbit meat and goat milk, Dame Elise's limoncello and salmon, Pog and Poise, Steel Reserve, and Black Miles. We've got breast milk and pablum, ginger ale and gerbil, sparkling cider and escorts, bong hits and bourbon, vodka and vanilla, geishas and sake, Rubenesque women and rosé, and of course, mutton and mead. All of that for you here at the round table, and make sure you collect your ring by going to noagendanation.com/rings and have good old Eric the Shill get your ring size, and we'll take care of all of the rest. And thank you for supporting your No Agenda show. I have a couple of notes and also a very interesting bill that popped up in California, your neck of the woods, regarding the scooters, the electric scooters, the dockless motorized scooters.
There should be some pictures floating around. I hope somebody sends it to me of the scooter that we had at the meetup. Somebody stole it off the street and brought it into the bar, and he got me to pose with it.
I haven't seen that one yet. Well, Lime Bikes, who I believe has an investment from. Then this is not a bicycle. It's it's the scooters, the little.
Yeah, that's scooters. What this was too. This is a bird.
Oh, it's a bird. Well, I think Lime has an investment from Alphabet. So there was a lot of lobbying going on for a new law for motorized scooters. And it was signed into law on the 19th by Jerry Brown. And they did something very interesting. See, one of the issues with this program is they want a couple of things to be law and a couple of things not to be law. And I have to give props for all these companies and their uber ramrod approach. Just flood the cities with these things without asking any permission, without doing any real legwork. Then, or at least not apparent. Then get everyone hooked on it. The kids love it. Of course, older people like me, white cis males, we don't have smartphones, so we can't participate in this revolution, this mobility revolution.
Yeah, it's a revolution.
It's a revolution.
I think we had these when I was a kid. I'm surprised they don't have put a bunch of these where you have like a 2x4 with two roller skate heads at either end and a wooden box and then some. It's like a box.
Yeah. Well, so now regulation is starting to come in, but there's a lot of lobbying. And there's a number of things that you don't want as a mobility company. There's some laws you do want and some you don't want. Now, the good news is that across the board, but even in this new bill in California, which is Assembly Bill 2989, there it does say you may not operate a motorized scooter upon a sidewalk, except as may be necessary to enter or leave an adjacent property. So I like that. You may not leave a motorized scooter lying on its side on any sidewalk or park a motorized scooter on a sidewalk in any other position so that there is not an adequate path for pedestrian traffic. So those are all good. But what you do not want at any time is a law that forces people to wear a helmet. I would say that's the number one problem because, your usage will go down immediately.
Oh, yeah, because who's going to walk around with a helmet all day?
Exactly. So we needed that. Which kind of goes contra to the news reports of people being hit and dying with their heads splitting open. Another two people died this week. Yeah. And you also don't want speed to be limited. So here it is in California. This new law, this bill would permit a local authority to authorize the operation of a motorized scooter on a highway with a speed limit of up to 35 miles an hour.
Oh, my God.
Yes. And then this is the tricky one. The bill does require the operator of a motorized scooter to wear a helmet only if the operator is under 18 years of age. So this is beautiful because you also need to have a valid driver's license or instruction permit. They lowered. I didn't even notice that. They lowered that to instruction permit. So if you're over 18, you don't need a helmet and, you'll be able to drive up to 35 miles an hour on these things. Go for it. Take yourself out of the gene pool because that's what's going to happen.
That's what you're going to be doing with a product that has those little wheels and it has inadequate braking at that speed.
Oh, they have a braking requirement.
Yeah, well, you'll brake.
Do you want to hear it?
It's going to stop on a dime.
Oh, no. Yeah, you need to hear the definition of the braking requirement.
Okay.
The motorized scooter, you may not operate a motorized scooter unless it is equipped with a brake that will enable the operator to make a braked wheel skid on dry, level, clean pavement. That's the brake requirement.
The brake requirement means you have to be able to skid?
Yes, on dry, level, clean pavement.
So it just locks the wheel.
I've never heard of something so bizarre.
That's pretty weird.
That's your braking requirement.
So it just locks the wheel.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to stop you. If you're doing 35 with those little wheels, you're going to skid about, I don't know how many feet you're going to go, but it's not going to be.
Blow a tire.
If I were you, I'd jump off.
I'm just saying, that's the law. Well, good work, Alphabet. You've made the world a little bit safer.
So when I went to the meetup, there was a bunch of these scooters flying around Oakland. Unbelievable.
Well, while we're on the topic, because of course this is happening in Austin, I am boots on the ground in the middle of this, and I have to say, Tina picked me up at the airport, and we were driving back into downtown, and I thought there were more. I think it looks like there's more of these damn things. It's just they're zipping all over the place. I said, I can see it, I can feel it. In 2 weeks. So I have to go out and investigate. I'll find out by tomorrow. I'll know if they've dropped more in here. But got a note from Bill. He says, quick perspective I thought you might find interesting. He's from California, from Silicon Valley, I believe. I was back visiting Austin this past weekend. I'm an Austin native and have been living away for the past several years. And started chatting with several of the tech workers that have flooded the city while I was out one night. They remarked to me that while they're living and paying taxes in Austin, they don't see Austin as their city or as home. Instead, they see themselves as long-term tourists, just there to have some fun for a few years, then back home to California. To me, that summed up how things have changed over the last few years. The city has been flooded by a group of people who refuse to invest themselves into it and just see themselves as tourists.
This is the same. So the effect will be the same as you see in a big concert on the grassy area in one of the big parks. And when the concert's over, you look back and it's filled with garbage and litter and half-eaten hamburgers. And the place is an outrageous mess. There's Austin coming up.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
If you don't care, you're in the city. This is great. Just throw stuff over your shoulder.
And you're right. They don't have respect for the city. That's a good point. That's why they don't care about throwing the dockless scooters around and riding over the streets.
You locals.
You dumb Texas hick.
Yeah, you're a dumb Texas hick. Yeah. That's the way Californians are.
Wow.
Take it from me.
Wow.
That's a good point. That was a good observation.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I got a note from Nathan. He's a teacher. And he was listening to Thursday's show about the climate conversation.
Yeah.
He says, man, the climate conversation had me rolling. I'm a teacher at a new high school in Washington, the Vashon High School. And he said it was okay for me to mention this, which is a very small, politically left town. The science curriculum I was told to teach is only about carbon. Remember, they were talking about carbon instead of carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
So the actual science curriculum talks about carbon and how it builds up in our systems. I teach biology, he says. Teaching kids that carbon is some kind of evil particle that we must eradicate from the atmosphere. Well, I'm not an idiot or a pussy, so I decided not to teach this way. Instead, I found the article that is below and will build an entire unit off of it. I just want you to know, and that you and John know, that there are good people working hard in the systems that exist. I always push students to question everything and explain to them the simple truths of this country and planet. The students come alive when we have real conversation and counter ideas that are presented to them. They are not combative or angry. As my years in high school grow, it's very, very clear to me the issue we have in education is about 20% high schools and 80% universities. The kids are open and interested here, but completely turn once they leave us. Love the show, always will. But that sounds like he's going to get killed. Thanks to the show, always will, man. This is my swan song. Thank you for what you do in helping all of us stay a little more sane. Yeah. By the way, he says CO2 only makes up 0.03 of our breathable air. Yeah, thanks, Teach.
Yeah, it's way down there.
Yeah, exactly. That does bring me to another Agenda 2030 clip of global warming. This is something odd is going on here.
3, 2, 1.
A hot and fiery start for a mission that'll study the coldest places on Earth. The new NASA satellite was launched safely onto a path that takes it almost directly over the poles. Its quest to determine precisely how global warming is affecting the planet's ice. ICESat-2, as it's known, is equipped with a green laser that'll fire down on glaciers and sea ice. The faster the beamed pulses of light bounce back to the satellite, the thicker the ice must be. And if the heights are seen to drop over time, it'll indicate the ice is melting. Previous observations have shown that both Antarctica and Greenland are losing mass as warm ocean water erodes their edges. And in the Arctic, the floating sea ice has lost 2/3 of its volume since the 1980s. But the changes that are occurring are often quite subtle, and scientists say only the most exacting measurement tools can tell us what's really happening. It'll be a few weeks before ICESat is ready to start work. NASA is reassuring everyone that the laser cannot itself melt the ice it's monitoring. But look up on a dark night and you might just catch a green dot passing across the sky.
I'm blind!
I mean, come on. You're telling me that is this to once and all prove that the ice is melting, or is this green laser for some other purposes, perhaps, not just measuring the ice? And how will you be able to see the green dot unless you're, over Greenland or wherever it's measuring? Come on. I don't believe this is for submarine tracking or slave zapping, something like that.
Somebody who knows about green lasers can probably tell us.
I mean, come on. This is a very flimsy cover they've built up on this one. Looking at the ice.
I have a couple of clips I want to get out of here. One is this is just a kind of a media clip. I want to recommend to people to be a little more cautious if they ever do interviews with the media, especially if you're a male. You don't want to sound like some sort of a lunatic, a wimp, or some sort of a screwball. Apparently, there was a tornado that touched down somewhere in Canada, and there's this guy that they found to interview who was very upset by this tornado because it almost took his daughter into the tornado, and he was very upset about this. But I found this to be one of the worst displays of masculinity ever heard on television.
Maurice braved a storm that put 6 people in the hospital, tore off rooftops, and left more than 100,000 Canadians without power. James Witter recalled watching his daughter nearly fly out of his grasp.
When it ripped our roof, my daughter, she went flying up, and I'm holding her hand. And I almost let go because she was slipping, and I said, if she's going to die, I'm going to die with her.
Witter's daughter survived. No one was killed in the tornado.
Oh, man. Wow. That's just like the Wizard of Oz. He's flying off into the tornado. Really?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but nothing happened. Nobody died in this tornado.
It sounds a bit like, leave Britney alone, okay?
It made me fake.
Yeah, it sounded a bit fake.
Yes. I also have I don't know why this has not caught on, but this John Brennan thing.
Oh, did you see the note from dude named Mohammed?
Yes, the dude named Mohammed told us he thinks that the guy. Yeah, I know. We got to find some.
I have his note here. The snippet you had about Brennan had some interesting factoids that gives it some weight, as these guys may have some reliable sources. Example: the use of the term shahada, which is a declination of faith that takes place when someone converts. He says, if anyone else has more info, he says, let him know. Dude named Muhammad's all over it. And he's our resident Muslim, boots on the Muslim ground.
So let's play this. This is a very interesting clip. It's not about Muslims in any way, but it makes me think that maybe they're doing I don't know what they're up to, what everyone's up to. But this is Lou Dobbs, second stringer over there at Fox. Lou Dobbs on the communist Comey and Brennan.
Last night, Louis Gohmert, Congressman Gohmert, was with us here, and he put the spotlight on something that a lot of people didn't recall or even know about James Comey's political past. Here he is.
I did not know until last week I saw an article from 2003 where Comey was bragging that, I was a communist until I became whatever I am now. I'd never heard that. Comey the communist. How about it? Who knew that? It's amazing.
Well, we know that now. That 2003 article the congressman referred to from New York Magazine, in which Comey says this, quote, I voted for Reagan. I'd moved from communist to whatever I am now. I'm not even sure how to characterize myself politically. He's not the only member of the deep state to have an ideological turn leftward of Karl Marx. Former CIA Director John Brennan also revealing he was once a communist sympathizer during the Cold War, for crying out loud. Are you kidding me? Joining us tonight, James Kallstrom, former assistant director of the FBI. He served almost 3 decades in the FBI and a captain of the United States Marine Corps. Great to see you, sir.
I never thought when I came back from Vietnam that there'd be a communist that was the head of the CIA.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, didn't we know that Brennan had been member of the party of this, maybe the Socialist Party? Wasn't there was some other news story I recall about that? Doesn't surprise me.
How did this guy get the clearances, and now he's bitching and moaning he doesn't have clearance anymore?
You know what,
How did he get one in the first place?
All will be revealed in the book. Will be dead, sadly, but it will be in a book in the future. There's someone listening to this show who'll be like, hey, I remember John and Adam talking about that. They were from the future.
You want to play the second half of this? Is the guy continuing to
Yeah, sure. I like this.
I never thought when I came back from Vietnam that there'd be a communist that was the head of the CIA.
Can you? This boggles my mind. I grew up on the FBI television show in which they were pursuing communists.
I was like, "Stop, FBI!" The guy would shoot, boom, boom, and then the FBI would go, poof, dead. Or down, not dead. I was like, oh, he got him immediately. That was the FBI show.
And there's one at the head of the CIA and one...
Hold on a second. Don't you remember, during the Obama years, who was, of course, unlike Trump, was run by Defense Intelligence, Obama being run by CIA. Don't you remember there was a whole period where they started to make the feds look like goofy losers? The FBI, I remember us talking about it. The FBI was made into goofballs.
Yeah. It was on all the TV sitcoms. The Lear guys and all the rest of them were putting these storylines in there where the FBI is a bunch of boneheads. In fact, they got to the point where they have to do a new whole series. They somehow solicited or coerced. I'm guessing coerced. Well, probably with money, which is easy enough. Coerced Dick Wolf into creating a whole new series, and he's the Law and Order guy, and all these shows. He's a famous producer. I'm surprised they haven't brought him up on sexual harassment charges because he's obviously doesn't like women.
Oh, he's still in the program. He's still delivering the goods.
So he's doing a whole series on the FBI, and if you watch the trailers, it's coming out in a few weeks. You watch the trailers, it's like, what? Are you kidding me? It's like these guys are saving the world. Really a lot different than the goofball era.
Yeah. Exactly.
But they were pursuing communists, and there's one at the head of the CIA and one
I wonder
at the
if
head of the FBI.
Comey and Brennan were in the same, the same den, like the Cub Scout den.
The communists.
They were in the same communist den somewhere up in the Bronx or someplace.
Well, I don't want to say that I'm convinced of it, but it could be possible that they would share such a cell.
Come on.
Share a cell. Now, that was a pun.
Yeah.
You can see him sharing a cell. Get it? Communist cell, cell, jail cell.
Oh, yeah.
And the other guy, I love this idea of a Cub Scout den of communists.
We have a pretty cool domain name, mockingbirdlist.com, which I've now, and someone made a list of all of the journalists who are suspected, I'm very clear, suspected of maybe being part of a revamped CIA Mockingbird program. And that should be, right now it forwards to No Agenda Show, but I think it's going to forward to the list.
Good.
Soon. Yeah, it is good. And I'm going to play one last clip. We'll get out of here. This is from the OTG files. This is the what's it called? The Stir Shaken program.
Okay, I have one more clip after this, and then we can leave.
Hi, this is Linda.
A virtual explosion in annoying robocalls. Estimated by next year, half the cell phone calls you receive will come from scammers.
Do you trust your phone?
Not at all. I don't ever answer it.
Telephone industry programmer Alec Finichel shows us how easy it is with the right software for robocallers to swoop in.
You can call
anyone in the world pretending to be anyone else in the world.
Jim Dalton of TransNexus says the industry has found a solution. Stir Shaken, it's called.
There'll be some work, but it's not a major change of the telephone network.
Phone companies can use Stir Shaken to authenticate the number for every call with a digital fingerprint. Calls without that special ID may be flagged or even blocked. Problem is, Stir Shaken appears to be on hold. The FCC tells NBC News, we believe that this industry-led effort is the fastest way and hope some companies will implement it within the year. Today, an industry spokesperson tells NBC News users should see improvements by late next year. But consumer advocate Maureen Mahoney wants to know who will pay for it.
We want the FCC to ensure that it's free for consumers.
With consumers scammed out of more than $9 billion last year alone, returning trust to the phone network is critical.
Yeah, so I think the key here is, you get a verified token, which I'm not too crazy about having. Some verified thing, so you know that it's really me calling. And what happened to Pocahontas? Wasn't she supposed to stop this?
Pocahontas has done nothing. She's a big phony.
The amount of calls I get, and they do now is they call from 512 area code.
Yeah, so I have to say, I see the same phenomenon. You don't get so much because you have a landline through Sonic, and they have one of these systems implemented which blocks probably more than 75% of these fake calls.
Oh, that's good.
And my cell phone's always off, so I never get anything on that.
Right.
Now, I just wanted to play this one last clip.
All right.
And this is the one, and people have seen this. This is the woman, this pink lady.
Marina, what's her name? She's from Code Pink.
She's being hauled off.
Code Pink.
She's a Code Pink woman. She's being hauled off, and I'm watching this thing, and they're looking at Twitters. Oh, she said the right thing. She gave a nice speech.
Where was this? Where was this? I didn't see
it. One of these think tank meetings. It was wasn't the.
She jumped onto like the CFR stage or something.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they dragged her off. She was yelling and screaming. The problem I have with it is she was obviously mic'd.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness.
Because if you've ever heard anybody hauled off of one of these things, you hear them as an echoey, Hey, stop it. You're killing me. You know, it's not. She was mic'd. And I don't think it was a shotgun mic. It didn't have the characteristics of a shotgun mic. It had the characteristics of a lav. And I have the beginning of this clip where you can hear it where she's mic'd, and then they bring her up. You can hear her in the background, and she's very clear. And they're bringing her up, and I don't see anybody following her with a mic. I don't see any way that they could have this so crystal clear the whole time. She's mic'd, and they have it going through the board, and it goes right on to C-SPAN. It's as phony as it comes.
The most ridiculous thing I have seen. The world community wants to keep the Iran nuclear deal. Our allies are the Germans, the French, the British. They want to keep in this deal. The world community wants to keep the deal. Let's talk about normal countries. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia. Is that who our allies are? They are the biggest threat to the world community. And let's talk. You're hurting me. You're actually hurting me.
The guys dragging her off are less audible than she is. Presumably, they're right on top of her.
I want to ask, do you think these sanctions are hurting the regime, or are they hurting the Iranian people? They're hurting the Iranian people.
Okay, what's the source of the video? You said C-SPAN?
Yeah.
Huh.
Now it goes. She's being dragged off, and it's and she's being dragged off, and she's not at the podium. Her decibels stay the same the whole time.
And she says, "You're actually hurting me," because it wasn't in the script for it to hurt.
Good catch, and I think you're right.
Troll
she said,
room.
"You're actually hurting me."
Yeah, troll room catch.
So they're hauling her off. They're moving her out. And this entire 90 seconds is very clear, as if it's like, but who's sending this message? I think she's a sincere Code Pink person, but I wonder. The whole thing is so scamish that it really bugs me. But did you play the whole thing?
I got another 30 seconds.
It has a nice little ending to it.
Making a case for war with Iran. How did the war with Iraq turn out? You're doing exactly the same thing we did in the case of Iraq. We don't want another war in the Middle East. Let's
you want to
see.
go outside and give
How does Iraq turn out?
do that.
How did
You
Libya turn
out?
out?
We
have the people of Syria suffering. And how dare you bring up the issue of Yemen? It's the Saudi bombing that is killing most people in Yemen. So let's get real. No more war. Peace with Iran.
I tend to agree with you. It doesn't sound extremely direct as I would like it for, let's say, a lav microphone, but I presume that it's underneath her clothing so that it would stay on. So the sound is consistent, and that's really the thing. Her voice level is consistent throughout this whole ordeal, while the people who are trying to drag her off are not. So I agree, and this means that C-SPAN or the producers of this event, which may very well have been an in-house event, or you don't know, someone is complicit and said, "Oh, Code Pink's going to jump up here. Let's mic him." And let's give her some hair and makeup.
Probably outside waiting to jump in and say, "Hey, do you mind if we mic you? That way your message can get through."
Yeah, and they get hair and makeup, and they had the floor director ready to cue her. Yeah, sounds like good catch, very good catch.
This is a complete setup. It's a fake. And it's just like who, why, what, where we don't know any reason because nobody else would even catch this fake except this show because we have some chops. And that was the phoniest thing I've ever seen. And I got the biggest kick at all these people on Twitter going all worked up about, "Oh, look at this show. What a great job is you getting her message out."
Wardrobe had the pink T-shirt ready and everything. It was great. All right, everybody, that is our show for today. And we return on Thursday. Excuse me, with another episode of the best podcast in the universe. We deconstruct the news. You come for that, and you stay for the stories. I think, or something like that.
Who cares?
No, I care because
as long as they stay.
Yeah, stay. People seem to like it. We appreciate that. If you're listening to NoAgendaStream.com, we have a Rock and Roll Geek Show coming up next with Zal Clemson. And I am coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 on the governmental maps, in the 5x9 Cludio, in the common law condo for now. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, a call out, by the way, to the Antioch Waterworks. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday with another episode of no agenda. Until then, remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. And as always, adios, mofos!
Donate to a No Agenda. They give ushers week after week. Donate to a No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique. The potholes on the road won't go away. Prepping for the show like usual. Did it have a choice to do anyway?
Rising intonation.
Speak. Someone makes a statement, but it sounds like I'm asking a question.
Non-renormalizing pitch escalation syndrome?
Under mounting scrutiny.
I have no reason to dispute these numbers. I was in Puerto Rico. Something you can log means.
And Republican Representative Ileana Ros-Lehtinen said only a warped mind.
Log means.
Along roads strewn with trees and
estimated at 64, but an independent study by George Washington University, commissioned by the Puerto Rican government, 3,000 people did not die in the 2 hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico a long time later, commissioned by the Puerto Rican government.
You're a businessman.
By the Puerto Rican government, George Washington University, commissioned by the Puerto Rican government, George Washington University, commissioned by the Puerto Rican government to stick into fake news. Commissioned by the Puerto Rican government, drowning and injury were estimated at
Puerto Rico.
Healthcare per person. Incredible, unsung success.
A warped mind with the Rican government stick into fake news. The president has turned to conspiracy drowning and injury rousing. At 64, Obama wasn't born in the U.S. by George Washington University.
The average age at which people die.
Assassination. Former president born in the U.S.
You're never going to die.
Commissioned by the George Washington Obama.
In the last 20 years,
George Washington
I just gave $1 million to the Democrats.
George
Turning an election is an ethical thing to do.
George Washington University. Puerto Rican government at the university, commissioned by the Puerto University. Other might be linked to the JFK estimated.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA.
Star Wars. Everyone's going nuts about it.